Have you ever gone up to, because you're talking about being on your phone when you pee, have you ever walked up to like a toilet or a urinal or whatever and turned on your phone to look at it quickly, but the last app you had open was your camera, and then you just see straight through it at yourself peeing into the toilet or into the urinal?
Time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome everyone to episode 262 of Born to be Wild, a wild Hearthstone podcast where we have fun, hang out with friends, talking about the wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the wild community. I'm your host, Hydralisk. It's great to be back here on this wonderful Friday evening here in beautiful British Columbia. And I am joined by my fellow host, Schmoopy Daddy.
Alms for the poor.
All right. We have a few guests here, so just a quick introduction. We also have Beep Man. Hello.
What's up? Thanks for having us.
No problem. We've got Trips. How's it going?
Hi. Absolutely wonderful.
0-20.
Hello.
All right, for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs, and the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all podcast apps. However you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes, you.
Content plug. Shmoopy Daddy, Shmoopy Daddy, Shmoopy Daddy, Shmoopy Daddy, Shmoopy Daddy, Shmoopy Daddy. Before we get into the main topic of the show tonight, I'd like to say a quick thank you to the patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is to leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is free if you use Amazon Prime. Finally, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 per month. We have some channels in the Discord that are unlocked by subscribing to the Patreon, where you can see the show coming together each week. Check it out. If you'd like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord, a free and amazing online community of friends from all across the world who love talking about wild Hearthstone. Links to all of this stuff and more, including our merch, can be found on our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. Interview bumper noises.
Interview?
Go.
There is no interview bumper. We should make one.
Go. I've done it.
Here, okay, hold on. I think I could do one. I'll make one on the spot. I think I could do that.
Guest interview.
Perfect.
People are gonna poop themselves. My God.
I just did. I need to go to the bathroom now.
Yeah, that's too scary.
We just had our bio break. All right, let's start with this. Do you want to do the honors? Do the honors, Hydrate, because you usually do these.
You know what? Yeah, I'll start here. And you know what? Feel free, if you have any questions, Schmoopy Daddy, to just jump right in there. But first thing we always ask everybody is tell us as much or as little about yourself as you would like. So we're going to start off with Beep Man. Tell us about you as much or as little as you would like, Beep Man.
Yeah, for sure. Again, thanks for having me. I've been doing esports TOing for a while now. I've been playing Smash competitively for a while as well, and then I started just running events here in my local community. But in regards to Hearthstone and card games, my dad taught me Magic when I was really young, like 5 years old. And then someone in high school was like, dude, check out this like phone game that's like Magic on phone. Like, that's so sick. And they were playing like Mech Mage or something in GVG. So I've been playing since then. It's been a lot of fun. And that's pretty much my history with the game a little bit there.
What about other video games?
So I love the Binding of Isaac. I play that like every single day, at least a run. You know, got to get a run in. Smash, like I said, although I will mention that the Smash Bros that I play is a modded version of Ultimate nowadays. It's called Huge Draw Remix. Shoutouts to the HGR community for being really cool, making the game a little bit more balanced, a little bit more fun. But I still play Ultimate occasionally as well. And I think besides that, nothing really that gets me as consistently as games that are social, games that are competitive, and games that have a lot to learn, a lot to master is what I enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you touched on this a little, but the next question was, what was your gaming history like, and why do you like Hearthstone?
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, my dad taught me when I was real little, and it was a lot of fun to play with him and play with all his old revised cards and stuff in Magic. And then I still play Magic to this day, taking a bit of a break with with all the Universes Beyond stuff. Not my cup of tea. We can maybe. I don't know if anybody else with Magic experience has that opinion, but. In terms of Hearthstone, I actually started out as pretty much like a wild player. I never really played standard up until like a year ago. I was only wild. I played all the wild stuff. Again, I started in GVG, so the decks like I don't even remember. I don't think it was wild until it was the rotation and with Born of or the Old Gods, right? Something like that around that time. But
Yeah.
I knew from being a Magic player, I'm like, I'm not going to play a rotating format. So I've been playing Wild nonstop, and my favorite class is definitely Mage. So I was always on that stuff ever since my friend taught me. And then also they had that Pauper Twist season a year or two ago, more than a year for sure by now. And that was my big claim to fame is that I've been so excited for Pauper. I used to play Pauper in Magic. I got Triple Legend that month, and I had a really great time with my like token druid brew that was like just trying to counter the dragon warriors that were going on. But yeah, the new Pauper format that we're here to discuss today has really taken over my interest in Hearthstone. There's a lot of great developments and great stuff to play. It's great to have the wild card pool, but the gameplay that's kind of more reminiscent of older Hearthstone and just coming out of nowhere and everything. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Hearthstone.
Awesome. So we ask this of every guest as well, because sometimes there's a funny story, sometimes there's the most boring story ever behind it. So it's how you got your screen name. I think the most boring one we've heard so far is we had pizza on the show, and he said he was just eating pizza, and that's what he typed in.
That goes crazy. No, mine's a little bit more interesting, but a little bit more embarrassing. Which I'll go real quick. So my family, when I was born, they I guess they called me like the little baby or like the little like Bieber, like they were saying it like cute, right? And so I was called Bieber like all my like young toddler life, and then eventually they're like this kid's like old and like a man, so we can't call him Bieber. And at the same time, I'm like I don't really want to be called that. There's a particular musician that I don't necessarily like need to be affiliated with when I'm like a 13-year-old like trying to get my place in the world type of person. But besides that, they started calling me Beebs, like a shortened version of it. And that's actually my real tag. When I play Smash Bros, when I do anything, I'm Beebs. But the other day, like I guess it's not the other day, it's like a couple of years ago, my buddy was in a Discord and he just said like he just calls people like weird riffs on their own name. So he called me Beat Man. I'm like, yo, that's so sick. So it's just been Beat Man for a while. But in the Pauper Discord, you'll see Keku Cullen, and on Battle.net and on Steam, stuff like that, I'm Keku Cullen, which is just a reference to the fact that my name is Kyle, my middle name is Cullen, and my dad named me after the mythological Irish hero Cuchulainn, which is pretty sweet. So little reference in there. But that one's hard to pronounce, so Beatman goes hard, and so does Beebs. Whatever y'all want to do. Appreciate that, though.
What about beepers?
I've been called actually. Oh, that's a really good question. I always name my devices or like a real name, like not just like Kyle's iPhone or Kyle's PC. My phone I named Beeper because it's just it's a beeper. Like we don't have beepers anymore, so if I'm gonna have my phone have a name, it's gonna be Beeper. So you'd be referring to my phone actually. So that one's already taken.
All right. I'll talk to your phone later, I guess. All right, Trips. Tell us as much or as little about yourself as you would like.
I'm pretty chill.
Nice.
No, so I am a Magic the Gathering player. Like first and foremost, I think if I had to like put a title on my life, it would be Magic the Gathering player. I grew up in a small town where people are always like reminiscent of that time when you could just like drop your kid off at the mall for like 6 hours and they would just like chill there and like you wouldn't be scared of them dying or getting kidnapped. That was my childhood, even though I'm like 20. My parents would they worked all the time, and so what they would do is they would be like, by the time I was 8, they went, there's a local game store that hosts games all weekend. We're gonna put you there for 8 hours, and then
It's like
after
a
work,
free
we're gonna pick you
daycare.
up. Exactly. The person who owned it was
Smart.
basically like, we'll make sure he doesn't get kidnapped. But you gotta one, buy him food. And my parents were like, yeah, brother, I believe you. And he's like, 2, you gotta like make sure he's got some amount of income coming into the store. And my parents were like, we can also do that. So basically my entire, I would say, so from the time I was 7, I was playing in like semi-competitive Magic tournaments, and getting, I mean, it's that time when you're just eating as much like information as you possibly can, and most of that information for me was Magic.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. At this point, I read a lot, I play a lot of Magic, and I've been playing Pauper Hearthstone since this new renaissance.
What do you like to read? Like different genres, like in general. What do you like?
If you look in the very blurry side of it there, one, if you're a fantasy reader out there and you haven't picked up Trudy Conovan's books, amazing, genuinely like stellar. Right now, I am going through Brandon Sanderson's novels. Finished The Mistborn, and now I'm going on to the Way of Kings. I just finished that, so we're going to the second book in the Stormlight Archive series. But I've been a big fantasy enjoyer. I actually didn't read it all until I read a Stephen King novel at work, because I was working and bored, and it was the best piece of literature I've ever read, and it really hooked me. It was the Dead Zone by Stephen King.
Ooh, masterpiece.
Did you?
Those last like 5 chapters are just, you're sitting there and you know exactly what's going to happen because it's all been set up so perfectly, but you're just watching it and you're like, oh no, it's beautiful.
Oh, and did you have something to add there?
Yeah, I was raising my hand. Did you read Warbreaker in between Mistborn and Wave Kings? Okay,
Absolutely.
Good. Okay, correct.
Warbreaker was amazing.
That's very good.
If I had to rate it, I honestly think the first Mistborn novel unfortunately negs everything. It is the best book so far.
Yeah.
But I think Warbreaker, those 2 novels, because it's 2, right?
Warbreaker's
those 2 would be in my number 2. Are you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
Okay.
how we got
Then
these guys
everyone-
going down book wormholes too. We do this every episode, is we end up going down book wormholes.
I want to know if anybody's read The Black Company yet, because that's my favorite series. It's like Sanderson called it like Vietnam War fiction on peyote. It's just kind of like following same genre, but it's sort of following a group of mercenaries who, they might be good, they might be bad, they definitely are sarcastic, and it's my favorite, I think, series ever in the genre.
Have you
for
suggested
sure.
this to me before?
I don't know if I have or not. I don't.
Send me a link.
I wouldn't always hop on the book train. Let's see.
Yeah. All right, Trips. Back to the question. So what was your gaming history like? And tell us why you play Hearthstone.
So, like I said, my childhood was like entirely Magic, to the point that we had this like bit about me where I have a huge circle of nerd friends, right? That all play video games and Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. Top to bottom, bad at every game. I am horrible. I am like so bad at every single game imaginable. And it was always the joke that like I had put all my skill points into Magic, and I had like nothing else was even close. I just did not have the room.
Sounds like you and 0 and 20 should switch names, because you're
Exactly,
0 and 20.
dude. You should see me getting absolute bottom frag in a Valorant lobby, going like 3-18 in a, I'm not joking, iron like 1, the absolute bottom level you can be in Valorant. I am
brutal.
still bottom fragging. I'm so bad.
Wow.
But I guess the most important part of my history was when I went to high school, because I joined this D4 club that was all about different card games and stuff. And it was the moment when I realized, like, oh, I'm a little too good at Magic, right? Like, I'm around all these people my age, and, like, I had grown up to the point thinking that, like, everyone kind of was at this level. They weren't. And so I was kind of trashing enough people that one guy was like, I want to introduce you to a different game. And I was like, sure, we'll try it out. We'll play something new.
Okay.
And he introduced me to Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
No.
No, it's a small indie game, but I've heard it's all right. And he introduced me with Zoo Warlock, I want to say. And it was the moment it changed from, like, oh, he's put all of his stats into Magic, to the new bit, which is he's put all of his stats into card games. I just loved Hearthstone, tore into Hearthstone, was doing the same thing I did with Magic, but I was a little older, so, like, I didn't have all those fresh neurons to just get into as much as I could. I was playing not Lorcana, I guess, because that game's bad. I was playing, what's that other big OCG that was around at the same time, like Shadow something?
Shadowverse?
Yeah, Shadowverse.
Shadowverse. I just ate up Shadowverse. I ate up, like, when Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links was still, like, a fairly big thing. I was going through that, and I just got every single card game possible. There was a time when I was, like, Mythic and Arena, King of Games and Duel Links, Legend and Hearthstone at the same time, because
Wow.
I wanted
a lot
to yeah, it was so much
It's a lot to
grinding.
keep up with. Yeah.
Yeah. And at some point I slowed way down, got a little old. And I hadn't played Hearthstone maybe in, like, a year or maybe even 2. And all of a sudden, Owen, in this, like, weird Discord that I for some reason hadn't left at that point, was like, hey, I want to play some Pauper Hearthstone. Is anybody down to, like, run some games? And I went, sure. And then he ghosted me for, like, 6 hours. And
Just
6
sleeping.
hours later, here it is.
Nice.
It was a very famous
Cool.
6 hours. Very impactful.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know about your origin story for your screen name. How are you Trips?
Okay. So, this has layers. From the time I was about 8 or 9, I started signing up to everything under Creepercraft. Because I was huge Minecraft kid. Still, I got every Technoblade merch item that has ever been made prior to his unfortunate passing. Was a huge Minecraft kid. And I wait, I did. I yearned for it so bad.
You like the movie?
You want to hear something crazy? Didn't watch it.
Oh, are you afraid?
I'm a little scared, because this was a
Yeah.
thing that we were, like, hyped about in 2016. So, like, it could be so bad. And I hear it's
Could
fine.
be.
It's fun.
It's fine. But I was Creepercraft on every platform, which doesn't really matter when you're playing, like, Magic the Gathering Arena, Hearthstone, because, like, who's gonna see your name tag? The randoms you're beating on ladder? Nobody cares. And then I started, my nerd friends would pull me into stuff like League of Legends, where I'd go 0-20 and feed in lane. They're putting me into Valorant, where I'd go 0-20 and feed in everything. Like, it was pretty bad. But all of a sudden, people were having to do, like, comms and call out to me. And so what do you shorten Creepercraft to? I'll tell you. There's 2 options. Both look bad. Neither's great for me. It's Creep or Creeper, which when you're going
on
on like
craft.
17, you'd think, right? No, never that.
No.
Maybe like CC.
Yeah.
Creeps.
Well, creeper is a noun and craft is a verb.
Yeah.
I think they just also wanted to call me Creeper, probably. I think there's probably way less like English language history going on here. Much more being mean.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
Understandable.
probably wouldn't have chosen creeper either. So I get it.
So, I decided I needed to make a switch. About the time I was 16, I was like, I'm going to switch my name on like everything I can do so on. And so I looked. It's the Peter Griffin, like looking around the room, searching for things. And it was like a couple of days after my birthday, April 4th, 2004, which, if you do the math, is 444. So,
That's the
I
year I
just
graduated.
Ugh. Yeah. Hate to tell you, the towers were long gone by the time I was born.
Oh man.
And I was just like, oh, like, I was also big into poker at the time, because like, that's, again, it's all in card games. So I was like, oh, trip fours, like 3 4s, and that's also my birthday, so it's like it has a tie to me, and that's when I ended up doing the big change.
Nice. That's cool. So not to be confused with old trips, we got new trips. There actually was a famous, I'm going to say famous, you don't want to say famous, no Hearthstone player is really famous, but there was a wild player that used to stream and have a wild podcast, and his name was Trips, by the way. 0-20. Tell us as much or as little about yourself as you would like.
So I go by Owen in the Pauper Discord, which I like to change my Discord username a lot. But my real name is Simon. Just everyone calls me Owen.
What? It's not
Here.
Owen?
No. Yeah, everyone is shocked when they hear it. I'm from the southern U.S. and also born in 2004. Yeah.
Good year.
Yeah, pretty awesome year, gotta say. What else about me? I mean, that's really it about me. But yeah, my gaming history.
Yeah. Tell us about that and why you're connected with Hearthstone at this point.
Yeah, well, I got into card games similar to these other guys when I was very young. Actually, before I could read, I got into Magic, and I didn't want to learn to read. I thought it was stupid. And so my dad played Magic with me, and I'd have to like have him read all the cards to me so I knew what they did. And I was like, damn, I guess I got to learn to read. And then I learned to read to play Magic. So I've been
That's
playing.
how he got you.
Yeah.
Tricked you into reading.
Yeah, he did, actually. And so I played Magic, and I was really into board games and like poker and stuff like that when I was a kid, just with like chips. But I never really, my parents didn't give me a lot of opportunities to play video games until I was like 13 maybe, or 12 or something like that. And then, I mean, I had like a Wii and stuff, but like, not any like computer gaming. And then when I was like 12 or 13, I got my first PC. And that's when I really got into gaming. And it was to like play Spore and Minecraft at the time. But I quickly got Steam and just played like every type of game I could, like COD, like I guess, yeah, COD. I played a lot of COD. Played a lot of like, what is it? Team Fortress and League of Legends and whatever, really. Just like played a lot with my friends. I got very into it in high school and middle school, and then like into high school was COVID for me. So then of course you're at home all the time, and all I wanted to do was hang out with my friends, which meant gaming. And so I just gamed like 5 hours a day during a good majority of high school. And so that's like my gaming background. Just like nothing. I was never really like any good at any particular game. I mean, besides Magic, I've gotten pretty good at it. But like, I played a lot of different games with my friends. But Hearthstone, I got into around like Witchwood. Is that what it's called? I think it's Witchwood.
Yep.
Yeah, I got in around then because my godfather, who also I would play Magic with, recommended it to me. And I would just play it on and off because I couldn't like afford to buy cards. And every time I dusted something, like the next set would come out and a deck would need that card. And then I'd just like, I'd be so sad about it. So
Never
then
dust.
yeah, I know. Now I know. So I just would stop playing and then I'd come back and I'd get a bunch of free packs and I'd dust everything and build like one meta deck and then try and play with it. Yeah. But so that was it. And then very recently I got back into the game and I saw that some of the meta decks were really cheap to craft and wild. And so then I was like, okay, I'm going to hit Legend with this deck. And so then I did. I played Discard Warlock, which maybe is cringe to people. But
it's fine.
No,
Here.
we don't. I'm probably the biggest deck shamer on the show, I think, and I'm not actually a deck shamer. I just don't like Hostage Mage.
Yes.
But
sorry.
No, that
And
didn't
yet
sick.
we're best friends.
That's sick, dude.
yeah, no, like Discard Warlock. I play aggressively. You've got all of my praises to play that deck. I don't care.
well, that's good because I played it from like bronze 10 or whatever to like diamond 5 and I think I dropped like 7 games. Like I just maybe it was my elo or something, but I absolutely
100%,
steamrolled. And then I got stuck for like a day around diamond 5 and then just steamrolled straight to legend. And I
That's
was like,
the Disco
okay.
Warlock plan. That happens.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah, that deck is absolutely ridiculous. And then I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I grinded to like diamond and standard and then the season reset and I was like, so I just like, and then I got really addicted to Battlegrounds. So I've been playing Battlegrounds like for several hours just right before I go to bed to chill out recently, playing a lot less like standard and obviously Pauper. And yeah, I mean, that's my abridged gaming history.
Nice. Well, we've heard a little bit about it already, but let's talk about your username. How'd you
Yeah,
get that?
so I really like to change my username a lot because I just want to put something funny. Like my old one was Goopy Slop Boy. I've had a lot of other ones, but this one it's 0 and 20, so it's like 0 and 20 on a scoreboard because I don't know what, I thought it was funny. It's not even a good play on words.
If I run, so I got to tell you this. I saw that your name was Owen 20, and I didn't think anything of it until I was at work today, and I said it like out loud to myself, and then I just started laughing because I got it.
That's funny.
I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious!" Because I just figured your name was Owen and you were 20. Like that.
Well, actually, I am 20, but it's just a coincidence. Yeah,
Simon
no.
20.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I just keep confusing people with it. Like some people, I forget who, but I told them my name was Simon, and they were like, "What? It's not Owen?" And I was like, "No, I didn't even think people would think my name is Owen. I just thought it was funny."
That was me.
Oh yeah, it was you.
Yeah.
It was
If
true.
you had
were
a
in
gun
a
to my
call.
head,
It was crazy.
if you had a gun to my
sat there
head, I
for
would
like
have said your name
5
is
minutes.
Owen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. But you can call me Owen. I don't really care.
Can I share
Yes,
a similar
maybe, Daddy.
story of confusion that I had? So somebody on my stream is like, we're talking about like DK decks, and it's like, well, I'm the king of DK. And I'm like, dude, your username is Kara Adorable. I thought you were a chick. And he's like, I'm a 34-year-old man, dude. And I'm like, dude, why Kara, right? And he's like, you make one magic pun, and it's all certain. It's all so yeah. I think you can absolutely throw people for a loop. That's pretty wild. Sure. Let's start with Hydra. How's your week?
My week has been pretty good, I guess. I don't really have too much to complain about. So I usually call this my King Corner, but I'm not actually reading anything Stephen King at the moment. But I read this book because it was free, or listened to it anyways, on Audible, called Confessions of a Mafia Contract Killer. It's called The Iceman. It was literally just like a free book, so I listened to it. It's brutal. It's brutal, and it's also like in a TV show when you watch The Sopranos and you're even though they're bad, you root for them. Like it's like that. Like this guy is known to have killed like at least 100 people, maybe 200. And it goes through his whole life, like how he got that way. Like he was abused by his parents back in the like 1940s, and then had like no remorse, and he just turned into a really bad guy. He found out he was good at killing and made a lot of money doing it. There's like 3 HBO specials on this guy that you can go back and watch that they did like in the 2000s. He just doesn't have, he's like detached himself from reality, where he just doesn't feel bad about anything he did. Anyway, I listened to it because it was free, and it was really, really interesting. And then, yeah, you feel weird about it because you end up sort of like sympathizing with this guy. Not sympathizing, but like hoping he gets away with it almost, which is so bad just because it was like a 26-hour listen or something like that. And so you sort of get a little attached to the main character, like they make you do, even though it's disgusting. He's a bad person, and I know that, but that's how they get you, right? Then I also am still waiting on my next Audible credit. So what else was free? Roots was free. So listening to Roots, and I watched part of like the miniseries way back in the day. Talk about like brutal, obviously. If I'm sure everybody already knows what Roots is about, but yeah, listening to it, there was a part today where like I felt like crying because it was so intense with just what the main character Kunta Kinte is going through in this story. And it's awful, but it's like historical fiction basically. And if you haven't read it, maybe you should, basically, to kind of know what some of the bad stuff that's gone on in the past. And then on a lighter note, I have a lot of grapes. So on the screen, there is 3. These are very large bowls. They kind of look small in the picture, but so I got lazy and I haven't cut or trimmed any of the vines in my yard, like on the south side of the house. I haven't touched them in a while. I used to like kind of keep that area clean, but it's gone insane over the last 2 years. And yesterday I was over there and I saw that I had like a bajillion grapes, and I've decided that I'm gonna make wine. Because why wouldn't you when you have so many grapes? I've never made wine in my life. And I also got a tip. It was probably from some online video. I'm pretty sure is where I got it. Is if you're new, a better way to do it is make a bunch of small batches instead of like one big batch. Because if you screw up your big batch, you screwed it all up, right? But you can actually make them in mason jars. And you can make like 10 mason jars worth instead of like this big like cask or bottle or whatever.
Makes sense.
And then right? So I went and bought some jars and these little like valves that you can sort of like vent the air out of. They're called pickle pipes that you attach to the top of your mason jar, and you give it a little squeeze and it lets out the gases that have been produced while it's fermenting. And I bought the wine yeast. I did that all today after work and before the show so I could do it tomorrow. I'm kind of excited about it. Make my own wine.
It's the same way you make beer, right? It
I
sounds
have
like
no
1-1
idea.
almost.
It's very similar.
I've never made either. This is definitely like a first time thing for me. I've got no idea, but we're gonna learn. And if I screw it up, I screw it up. The only thing I had to pay for basically is I had to buy like a bunch of jars and these lids for them. So
This is so
I'm not
funny.
losing much if I.
This is so funny that you're mentioning this because if I had a nickel for every card game podcast I've listened to where people are talking about their beer making or fermenting vegetables or something like that, I'd have 2 nickels. Because I listened to a Magic podcast called Lucky Paper Radio, and they one of their co-hosts every episode they're talking about like which vegetable they have fermenting and which mushroom they're growing. It's really special, and it's very funny you're doing that because it's like the same. Like it must be something with just like playing cool card games, I guess. Just the cool hobbies we
I
get
guess
into.
so.
Yeah, for sure.
They're just 30. Just happens when you're 30. Like, I hate to tell you. I don't want to break the immersion.
Dude, I'm
but that's
pushing 30. You can't say that. I'm gonna be
thing that
making
happens.
wine.
Uh-huh.
Oh God.
You're going to
I
get
used
real
to make
into
my own beer.
gardening soon.
Yeah, Schmoopy Daddy, you should do it again. You should do it again. Anyway, enough about
kids.
me. Schmoopy Daddy, how was your week?
Cool. We found out a cool thing about my son this week. So like we have so Hydra will remember this. You guys won't. Remember those catching mitts that weren't really catching mitts? They were like Velcro. So like you've got like the tennis ball and you got like the super Velcro. So we found out that if I run away from my son as far as I can and throw that tennis ball as high and as hard as I can at my son's location, he can catch it. And he can catch it fairly regularly, which is impressive since he's 7 and we don't have him signed up for baseball. So he's like, Dad, go and try it. And like the first time we tried it, he didn't make contact. And then the second time we tried it, he didn't make contact. And about the 5th or 6th time that we tried it, he made contact, but it was just the rim and it shattered the actual glove itself. And he's just like, whoa, that was sick. Well, case in point theory, we know I can catch it. And we're like, all right. So then we went back the next day and we tried it, and like sure enough, like yeah, he can go. So he's doing he's doing that now, including throwing the frisbee, the ultimate frisbee, like 30-35 yards, and playing lots of soccer. I don't.
Nice.
He's free. He's a freak. I don't know where he got it from. In the Hearthstone news, since that was our Schmoopy update. In Hearthstone news, since we did a pod last, it's been 2 weeks. The first of the month came and went. I did, in fact, hit Legend first of the month with Seedlock. Got to come in at rank 27. That was fun. Doing it on stream was fun. It's a weird meta to climb in because you feel like, oh, man, well, what am I going to do against Eggs? Well, man, what am I going to do against Boris? Oh, man, I still have to worry about Discard Warlock. And, like, Seedlock checks one of those boxes, which is pretty much like the disco lock, and then you kind of just hope you can race down the boars with enough early pressure, and you hope that you just never see the eggs, and just if you do see the eggs, that like you're lucky trash. I don't know. And so that's what I attempted to do. And yeah, had the nice cushy 10x climb up to rank 27. My new personal quest. I found this really weird, quote-unquote discard warlock list on Hearthstone-decks.net, Neon 31's website, and it was like a face warlock. Like it almost looks zooey. It looks zooey. I'll even plop it down in the.
Is this the list that plays like the 0 mana destroy a minion, and if you had like 5, you make a 5/5 or something?
No, not that. It's not Cute Lock, right? So Cute Lock is like playing a bunch of 0 drops, and you're dropping the 0 drops, and you're chewing through your deck as fast as you can. This is kind of like Cute Lock, but different because it's running stuff like Leper Gnome. No, that's not the right list I dropped in. What the hell am I doing? It's running stuff like Leper Gnome, and it's running stuff like oh my god, where is it? It's running weird stuff like the little Sizzler minion. Yeah, exactly. And so. Here we go. Now I've dropped the correct list. Yeah, it's called Discard Warlock, but I've been calling it Face Lock, and it feels like an old school like face type deck. Like you kind of are trying to build in damage as best as you can and be super mana efficient. And what's neat is it's also including, like the good discard payoffs, like, oh, let's run Malkazar's Imp, Merchant, and Soul Barrage, and the chamber of, in the whatever chamber, I forget how it was, chamber of viscosity, whatever the hell it's called, and also a couple other little discard synergies here and there. But other than that, it's like, let's just like make a board of stuff. Let's get our Fell Wings down. Let's go faced, and then let's do these really cute like discard with Merchant, Hellfire. Trigger your location so that you discard a Soul Barrage the Merchant just discarded, and then also rip a Hellfire. Like, it's just like really sick burn turns. And is it better than Disco? Probably not. But I'm like a hipster having fun playing kind of like this also cheap bait right now. Trying to climb with it on EU. I think last I checked I'm like 18 and 15, 19 and 15, and I'm in like platinum. So I'll probably finish that on stream eventually. Because I'm having fun playing it and having fun jamming it. It looks kind of wild. Beep Man, how was your week?
That was me, right? Y'all just said my name.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, I will mention that the deck that I was mentioning was also on the same website, and I just like randomly found it the other day. I just linked it in the
this
Discord.
guy.
Yeah, it was really I've never seen Ritual of Doom in my life, so I was just wondering if it was that type of deck or something similar. This is definitely more discard game, but
Ritual of Doom was like super, super popular in old cute lock lists. And again, that's running like 2 Desk Imps, 2 Wisps, 2 like, so you're like going super wide with 0 drops, and then those were part of the payoffs, and then you were doing the whisper, like the whatever whispers, the wicked whispers, and then like you're buffing everything, and then you're like, ha ha ha, it's turn 3, and I've got like 18 power. Eat Garbo. Yep. This guy I know because he makes some sort of unorthodox aggro board-based decks all the time. If you look up that name, he also has done a couple of aggro druids a couple times that have sent to sheep. So like, yeah, he's a known quantity.
Sweet. Yeah, I use that website all the time along with HS Guru, so it's great resources to have in the community. In terms of my week, big happenings last Sunday with Trip and I running our first community Pauper tournament. Went very well. We had around 20 people. I can get the exact number when we talk about it later, but it was a lot of fun. Everybody, Owen helped out as well. We were just trying to get as many people in as possible. Had a couple wrenches thrown in. Trip was the GOAT as usual, trying to clutch up with some open deck lists that did not turn out to be open at all. And everybody's like we have Corbett in the Discord being like, hey, no one knows what decks people are bringing, so that was a lot of fun. But honestly, it was a great time. Trip was clutching up commentary, and I was keeping OBS within its cage, and that was a lot of fun. That was the highlight of my week for sure. I also run a weekly. Oh no, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to interrupt. So we run our own listener series, and basically we had open deck lists, and everyone used to wait till Corb would post his, and then everyone just would copy paste Corb's deck lists.
We actually had
exactly what he was running
like that.
every time, so we had to hide them because
Corber Maxi. Everybody was net decking Corber Maxi.
Maxi came into our Discord like. Maxi came into our Discord about 2 weeks ago and posted just made a post that said, "These are the best decks in the format for the tournament." It was just 4 decks. It was Handbuff Paladin, it was Control Warrior, with the Handbuff combo that we'll talk about later. It was Fill me in, Trip. I'm forgetting the other. Oh, Pirate Rogue.
So Pirate Rogue?
Yeah.
For sure.
And then what was the fourth? It was Control Warlock with Voidwalker. Yeah. And those 4 decks, like, you saw a lot of them at the tournament, and I was really surprised that Maxi just like put it there. But like, they also said, I can't make it because I have the Wild open. So I think they just dumped the list and left. Like, honestly, it was really funny. But I mean, honestly, it was really useful. A lot of those decks saw play. A lot of those decks people knew were going to see play. There were a couple counters and things in that vein to test against, basically. So it was really useful to see that. But Corpet and Maxi definitely like shook up the pre-first tournament meta a little bit.
And spoiler alert, none of them got top 1.
No, they did not. They did not. We'll go through that later. It's spicy.
Yeah.
Because you know what the counter now.
That's true. That's true. I mean, well, with an exception of one deck that does not seem to have a counter, except for the process of banning the deck.
Yeah, there's a counter.
Yeah, there's a counter.
We're getting
but
way too deep. We're getting into this later.
I got to talk about the highlight of my week. Besides that, I run a weekly Smash tournament for the city of Carrollton in Texas. It's we run Smash Ultimate HDR. We have some Rivals of Ether 2. That one, still love that game, but hopefully some more people come out for it in the future. That tournament's always a lot of fun. I stream that as well and get all the VODs uploaded. It's really exciting being a TO. It's a lot of great community building and a lot of great people you meet and everything, and it's just great work. Besides that, I'm always brewing some. I drive for work. I do a lot of. I drive you know those gaming trailers that you can go into, and they're like trailers, and you go inside the truck, and it's TVs on the walls, and you know, some people know this, some people don't. I drive one of those for the YMCA, and the time that I spend driving, it gives me a lot of time to just like cook in my brain. So I'm just like thinking about new cube ideas. I'm mainly a cube player in Magic right now. Actually, I'm pretty much only a cube player. I'm not playing Commander. I'm not playing anything else these days. I'm just making new cubes. So I'm working on a lot of new cubes. Slowly working on a custom set. I came up with an interesting mechanic for Magic that I really enjoy, kind of building around. And in terms of Hearthstone this week, I listened to the podcast from last week, the Born to Be Wild. And I actually didn't know Druid was the egg deck. I thought it was only I thought we were only doing Warlock. So I heard about that deck. I'm like, heck yeah, I need to get to Legend real quick. Been playing that thanks to y'all, or possibly no thanks to y'all if you're my opponent. It's pretty polarizing deck, and I really enjoyed the discussion y'all had in the last podcast about like I really liked how you say there are things you can do to improve it. You know, Oaken summons, no Oaken summons, but at the same time you're like, but is this a good thing for the format? I don't know. So, but yeah, I've been doing that this week, and yeah, I'm part of I'll be part of the problem forever. I don't care.
That's okay. I'm a part of the problem too.
That's
it's
fine.
All right.
It is like, here's the thing: you play that deck, and you're like, wow, this is super cool, and then you play it again, it's like, wow, this animation takes a while, and then you play it again, it's like, oh, I didn't see my combo piece, and then you play it again, you're like, my opponent's playing Hostage Mage, and then you play it again. Like it's just like a very polarizing experience, and like all combo decks are, right? But this deck particularly is so like you drop the egg after whatever her name is. I can't even remember off the top of my head. What's the death
Umbra.
rattle? Yeah, you drop Umbra and you drop the egg. And it's like, okay, I'm like closing the app. I'm gonna wait for the animations to be done, and I already pressed end turn. Man, that specific thing will always get me. But yeah, thanks for the deck tech, guys.
No worries. You know what? And we can thank Blister Guy for the one who was kind of like spicing it up with his version that he talked about on his podcast, Walk to Work, which is kind of like why we did the deep dive on, you know, which one do you play and all that sort of stuff. So shout out to him as well.
Oh, I also will add, you guys were mentioning in that last podcast that, you know, first of all, you were talking about the Oaken summons versus no Oaken summons, and someone also mentioned Bio Project. I decided on a list that plays 2 Bio Projects and 1 Oaken summons, and I played both of the what's it called, the draw your highest or lowest card. So I'm on like kind of a weird like amalgam of those things.
Capture Coldtooth Mine.
Yeah, Capture Coldtooth Mine, and I just like Bio Project. I think it's a cool card. It's cool to like give your opponent mana if you think you can risk it.
I refuse to run it.
That's totally fair. Like a lot of games, I'm like, I just can't cast this. As soon as I cast this card, I lose. But it's so fun to like kind of play with that a little bit. So I've been on this weird like mixed list, but appreciate the Coldtooth Mine was really sick. Like that idea a lot. Enough about this crappy deck.
Well, the best part is you can play whatever version you want, and it still wins. So
that's true.
Like you can just pick your flavor that you like. Trips, how was your week?
My week's been great. So, started out, I've been trying to power through the second Stormlight Archive novel. Listen. I know. He's a genius. Can't do anything wrong. All of his books are the best thing in the world. However, no spoilers, by the way. This is not going to be a spoiler warning.
Thank you. I hate spoilers.
I cannot stand. What is the girl's name in Stormlight Archive? Shallan? Anyone listen to the audiobook version?
No,
Her
I
chapters are just boring. You are legitimately going from like, I know they're important. They're like really important to the lore. Super important. I have to read them. I don't want to though. You are going from like an actual battlefield where like things are happening and troops are moving and stuff, and then it's like, and then we're going back to a little cove where a girl's reading a book, and we're going to talk about it for 20 minutes on end. And I'm like, I feel like there was something else a little more like important that I could be hearing about. But I hear it gets better. I hear her chapters specifically get way better as the series goes on. Owen is frantically shaking his head. Yes. But at the moment, it's a slog. I did the worst thing possible for me. So, like you guys were saying, my senior to junior year was in this, like, COVID period where, like, time stopped for a little bit, especially if you're young. Like, it actually just felt like time did not go by. The biggest thing in my personal life that happened at the time was Smash Ultimate getting revealed. And, like, I was a huge guy for, like, watching all the trailers, watching everybody's reaction to the trailers. Like, everybody had their own YouTube video where they were just screaming at the television watching the trailer happening. And the worst thing I can do for my own mental health is go back and rewatch them because it gets me so hyped for the next game. And there is no next game. There's not even a hint of a slight idea of what the next game is going to look like. So now I'm just like, I have the liquid hype in my veins waiting for the next Smash game. There's nothing. And then finally, I have my next CDH. I don't know. So I know Beeb said that he's not really into Commander. But I play a lot of Commander, and I play what is called a CEDH, which is you take Commander, which is a very casual format at its heart, and you play it at the highest level possible. You put in like all the cards that you would be like, I don't really want to play that against my friends, and we want to keep us all around the same. You go, no, I'm playing the best cards so that I can win the most.
I'm gonna be toxic. Yes,
it's Commander but ladder.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's pretty toxic.
It's super fun. The way I would explain the format to somebody who's never played it is a story about the last tournament I played in. So Commander is, at its heart, a 4-player tournament, a 4-player game. And we keep that in CEDH. It's still 4 players. So I'm sitting down against 3 other people, and one of them goes like, blah, blah, blah. I can do this, which might stop your board, but if I stop your board, I lose to him, and it's like weird. And I look at him, and I'm like, we're drawing. And he's like, I don't really know if I want to draw this game. And I'm like, wasn't a question.
we're drawing.
Yeah, we're drawing. If you don't want to agree to a draw, that's fine. You're going to lose on his upkeep because he's going to do something, and I'm just not going to stop him.
This story gives me so much PTSD right now. I played so much CDH back in the day. Your story is like reminding me why I stopped playing CDH.
Yep. That moment is what either makes you go like, I love this format. That's sick that you get to like, your words are a resource in that game. Like genuinely, I think over every tournament I've played, I have a winning win rate, like above 50% in a 4-player game. The only reason that's possible is you use your words as a resource, which I think is so sick. But you also get the other end of the coin, which I'm sure that guy who I was like, we're drawing or you're losing the game. Those are the only 2 options. Didn't love that game. But I'm prepping for my next CDH tournament. It's going to be next weekend, which I'm working that night. I work as a prison guard on night shift.
Sweet.
So
there's a prison right next to my work, and I talk to the prison guards on like my lunch breaks and stuff, because we go for like walks at the same time because this prison is like built out in the forest and there's these trails, and their life sounds kind of interesting. So at some point I'd like to hear more about that.
it's hard to explain to somebody who's never been in a prison before that like there are boring fights. That's definitely the biggest thing. Is when somebody's like, "Oh, you're 10 minutes late, Alex. Like, is everything okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Near the end of my shift, 2 offenders got into a fight, and like I had to break it up and pepper spray a guy, and it was like kind of annoying. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, are you okay?" And I'm like, "It was like a lot of paperwork. It was so much paperwork."
Yeah, I get that. That's funny.
Yeah, the fight was like 4 minutes, but the paperwork was like 2 hours. That's why I'm 10 minutes late. But that's basically all that's happened in my week.
That's great. 0-20. How was your week?
Pretty good. I've been doing a lot of stuff. Some of my friends from out of town are in town right now, and so I've been seeing them. And I finished 1% Lifesteal, which if anyone out there or any of you guys are like cultivation fantasy or progression fantasy readers, it's in that vein. It's like Naruto kind of, or like a video game but a book. It's kind of the vibe.
Interesting.
And it's that one specifically is ridiculously violent, which is kind of like usually turns me off, but the writing is pretty enjoyable. The character's cool. It's like kind of silly in other ways, so I really enjoy it.
You've made an exception.
Yeah, usually I just cannot stand it. It makes my skin crawl, but this book series I've decided to power through it. But I've also been listening to a couple new good albums, which are Turmeric by the Twins. For all my underground UK rap heads out there, very good. It's like Fake Mink. He's featured on the album. New Bass Victim album for all my UK like drum and bass heads, and We Will Always Love You by the Avalanches, which I rediscovered recently, which is like Plunderphonics. Very good, very like, it has a very strong through line, very good themes of like both loss and family and all this stuff. It's very beautiful.
I feel like I have to check these out after the show.
You should. They're really good. The first two are pretty hectic, like electronic, but We Will Always Love You is very like peaceful in this way that I quite enjoy. Yeah, you should.
Will do.
Other than that, I have been just grinding Hearthstone and obviously playing Pauper too, but grinding Battlegrounds a lot. I'm like pretty low elo, so I'm trying to like climb high enough to where I can like test strategies to see if they're actually good or if I'm just like high rolling.
Yeah, I get that.
And also I make Minecraft mods for my job for the Bedrock version, and there's been some firings at my job, so I'm a little frightened about that.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah, it's ups and downs, but yeah, that's been my last week.
That's a sick way to make your money.
Thanks. Doesn't make a lot of money right now, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I work with people like all over who just all play crap load of Minecraft.
So we keep it Simpsons swearing. Yeah. So whenever somebody says something that's like a little worse, I Murgle them. So there'll be a Murgle over your swear word.
Yeah,
you'll get a Murloc sound.
I gotta start
it.
swearing more. I want to hear myself Murgled in
Yeah,
real time.
wait, hold on.
Actually,
It's the
so
same
we had
soundbite over and over again.
I don't know if you know this Hearthstone player named El Tino, but we had El Tino on the podcast one time, and El Tino claimed to fame that he could do like the best Murloc sound ever. I'm going to let you listen to it right now. This is El Tino live at the time on our podcast, and note the hilarity of us all laughing afterwards. That was a human.
That's crazy.
That's not bad. That's better than I could ever do.
Was he drowning during the recording session?
It sounded like it.
Did he take a swig of water?
You know, maybe, let's listen one more time.
That's
So good.
crazy.
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
The news actually is pretty good. New expansion hype. So I'm not going to stay on this too long. We didn't end up getting to talk about this last week. I mean, we got a lot of Pauper to talk about. So, Across the Timeways is a brand new expansion coming out November 4th. 145 new cards dropping. There is a couple new keywords. So we've got rewind. So basically, I'm just going to read what they said. So time travel is coming to Hearthstone. Rewind is a new keyword that lets you replay cards with random effects for another shot at a better outcome. We've all had a spell go sideways or watched a minion's effect miss the mark. Now, if a card has rewind, you'll be offered a chance to rewrite history. Do you stick with what happened or rewind the timeline? So yeah, what kind of happens if you are looking at the screen is you'll play your card that has some sort of RNG effect. And if you don't like the result, you get to choose to rewind and get a different one, or you could choose to keep it. So I think it's a pretty cool effect. We could do a quick little round table. I'll start with you guys. 0 and 20, do you think this is something cool, something that you'd look forward to being able to play? You ever had bad RNG?
Oh, yeah, I mean, all the time. I played Discard Warlock, 100 consecutive games.
There you go. I guess so. Eh?
You burn your Solarium every once in a while, and you just want to weep.
Yep.
But I wonder, does it, can you affect cards that don't have rewind, or does it give you an option to rewind the effect that just happened? Like, do you know how it works?
It's the effect that
there's
just
The card
happened.
effect itself?
Yeah, go ahead, Shmoopy Daddy.
Basically. No, sorry. It's what the card just did. So like if the battle cry is print 2 legendaries, you can rewind that printing of 2 legendaries back to before you played the card.
Yeah, if you got like Nat Pagel and Laura Walker Cho, and you're like, those are the last 2 I really wanted right now. You could basically re-roll, right?
From Millhouse,
and
Mana
get
Storm,
something
and
else.
Duskfall and Aviana. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, or Sergeant Sally, or yeah.
I think it's
2 mana
cool.
4/4.
I think it's a bit of the type of mechanic where they are going to build cards around it, and they're going to make some crappy cards that are just, you're shoving rewind into it, and there's going to be like a couple cards that are just like super good, and then there's just upside on top of it. And I think it's kind of like I don't know. There's maybe some, I don't know. It doesn't really excite me that much.
Yeah, I think it's neat. I don't know. Trips, you got an opinion on this one?
Oh, I do.
Yes.
I am a huge Rewind fan. I'm a huge Fabled fan. I love these mechanics. Genuinely.
Cool.
So did you guys play, obviously you're Hearthstone players. You've played through the Kobolds and Catacombs dungeon run, right?
Sure.
Oh, yes.
Then you've seen this effect before. Because if you played as Toki, the mage girl, she had her hero power, which was rewind the turn. And
right.
that was just sick to be able to go like Arcane Missiles, generate a card into my hand, and then like Arcane Missiles went 3 to face, and you go, no, like run that back. And Rewind seems like a great way to make more RNG heavy effects while also being like more than likely you're going to hit the average. If you want the average, you can get the average, right?
They should put rewind on arcane missiles.
They should. That's a banger.
Like update the card. That would be so great.
They should put rewind on Mayor Noggenfogger.
Oh my
So you
gosh,
can
that'd be
not
hilarious.
play that card.
Oh, May, thanks for all the gifted subs. We don't usually interact with chat. We do occasionally, but May just gave us a bunch of gifted subs.
25.
25.
Oh, I got one.
I wish
High
I was logged
roller.
in.
Yeah.
Dodged.
High roller. All right, so you already mentioned Fabled, or sorry, Beatman. Let's go to you. Sorry. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on the rewind mechanic?
I'm kind of in the middle between Owen and Trip here. I think this is both Fabled and Rewind are like these on paper mechanics that sound. Well, actually, let me stick with Rewind for a second because Fable's a little different. But Rewind is like the perfect R/Hearthstone mechanic, right? So you're gonna get a lot of like funny stories. It's a great content mechanic, but there's a couple flaws that we've played with some of the cards. Some of the cards are in the pool in Pauper. Like you can generate the what is the card that's in the animation that's on the screen where you add a minion to your hand. That card is something I've generated off tide pools many times in Pauper right now. And I remember having a situation with my opponent maybe a day or two ago, and I rewinded my crappy minion that I got, and they DM'd me in the Hearthstone client and said, I just got flashbanged by the rewind animation because it's so like screen warping and it takes a long time and it's really bright yellow. So I think some of the aesthetic choices of the mechanics seem really questionable. The amount of time it takes, like there is so much time on this animation, and if you're playing a deck, wild standard doesn't matter. If you're playing an APM deck at all, if you're playing a deck that just you want to see as many options as possible, you're going to get really annoyed by these animations. If they can improve the animation time, we're cooking. The mechanic's fun. I think the mechanic is potentially like making your plays more on average stronger is fine. But I also think there's some issues with just like the opponent might feel bad if the cards are not designed perfectly well with the rewind mechanic. And so far, the rewind cards that we have seen, they seem okay. Like no one's really playing Unstable Portal in 2025, right? So I think once the rest of the spoilers drop, we'll see if there's anything else that looks pretty spicy. But until they get the animation figured out a little bit more, just speed up everything they can. Maybe just make the animation end when the card is replayed completely, because you have to watch the animation of the sand and then watch the card get played again. It's a lot of stuff to watch. So if they can fix that stuff, I'm much more on board. But yeah, it's flavorful as hell, but it's really I hope they fix it up a little bit.
Schmoopy Daddy, any final comments on Rewind?
Yeah, no, I think just like Grumpy Daddy on the length of the animation and like how bad it feels to be on the receiving end of it. Like, what if these cards are good, especially like the free legendary, because they've been giving us a lot of really good free legendaries the last couple sets. Even when the sets have suffered, the free legendaries have been like phenomenal and have like spawned new decks. But like, you know, waiting 3 times to see if my opponent rewound to the right legendary that scams me, that's a little spooky, right? And that's like not great. I can imagine just like trying to do like a Masters tour and you're commentating it and there's the long animation and then you're pausing and you're checking. It's like, oh, nope, he's rewinding again, and like go back straight into the new animation because again, their client is so much faster than the spectating client. And so now they're clicking through and we're looking at the animation again. And then like, you know, we see a snapshot on the board and then they rewind again and we don't even see what the third board is because they've already conceded because it's so much faster than we like. In practice it's like it's not quite
That's
it, Chief.
Funny.
It's not quite and
I never thought of it like that. Like I was just now picturing, like, imagine you're watching a golf tournament and everyone has like a lot of mulligans. And like you gotta like watch that guy go get his ball and like bring it back and like take the shot again.
It's never gonna be like that strong and wild where I'm gonna see that scenario and be like, oh man, where it's gonna be common enough where it's like, okay, this 8-drop, this 8-mana 3/3 is breaking the format. I think you could tutor it off Timeline Accelerator and still be okay with like a 6-mana 3/3 and wild with the exact same effect, right? But just waiting and waiting and waiting to see if you got scammed by the rewind was the first thing that struck me as like possibly feeling bad. So like it feels great from the playing end as far as like, oh man, I didn't like how that turned out. I'd love to have a second shot at it. But from the opponent's perspective, it goes from like it's almost like my sports analogy would be in soccer. They've now instituted in some leagues like a video replay to double check and see, oh, was there any like offside, were there any laws broken before they scored the goal? And what it ends up happening is what people most complain about is you can't celebrate a goal being scored when it's scored because you don't know if it's going to count. So like people lose their minds, and then like there's a big drop off. It's like, oh no, never mind, it doesn't count. And Rewind kind of feels that way. So like I don't know, I you know what I mean? Like it's like that's kind of where I'm at with it. Where it's like it's I think it's really cool on paper. I think in practice it has more flaws than you'd think.
Cool. Well, I guess we're gonna experience it soon, or we'll find out. Other keyword: fabled. So basically, Fabled is like a 3-card package in 1 card. So there's going to be a Fabled legendary for each class. So you're going to have to open these up through packs. Maybe they'll give us a free one. I'm not sure exactly how it's all going to work. But the example that we have here is the Ranger General Sylvanas. So you get the basic one, which is, so it's a hunter card. It's a 3-mana 2/4 that says Fabled Battlecry, deal 2 damage to all enemies. If you've played Illyria or Varessa, repeat for each. And so you have these other 2 cards, right? So when you put this in your deck, you automatically get the other 2 versions, right? And so they're going to sort of play off of each other. This is the one that we see right now, and there's going to be one for each class. And I don't think it doesn't affect your card count total, right? Like it only counts as 1 card, not 3 cards, because you're only putting in like does it count as 3, Beat Man? Are you saying it counts as 3?
In my experience from when they showed, if you scroll up into the animation of them putting in the card, or it's up or down or something, I believe it shows taking up 3 slots in your deck. Like I guess look at the number down there that happens.
It does say 3.
Yeah, I think it just gives
3.
you 3 or 2 fewer slots after you add that. So you're stuck in there. Your deck is smaller.
You're locked in.
Which is better, right?
I like
more
it.
consistent.
It's not necessarily better if the card's
okay.
bad, though. Because if you're adding 3 crappy cards to your deck, it's not deck thinning. Unless
Right, it has to be worth the
it really
payoff.
depends. Yeah, it has to be worth it.
But it does give them a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of levers, right? A lot of little spots in order to adjust things balance-wise if they're not hitting, which somebody mentioned in a Discord, and I thought was a really good point.
Anything for more dust sounds great.
Yeah, I guess, right? Yeah, it's too bad you can't dust it for all 3 versions that you get inside.
Hey, one
your deck.
refundable legendary is like 1.5 Pauper deck, so we'll take
That's
that.
so many Pauper decks, dude.
Yeah.
This is true. This is definitely true. Any Shooby Daddy thoughts on Fabled?
Not cool. I mean, I think like having looked at some of these cards so far, I think they've looked cool. They've looked an appropriate power level. It looks like we got like a normal set again. This set, as opposed to what we'd been getting previous sets, where it looked like it was like we were doing a weird power reset, but like in secret, in quiet, but not really in secret, in quiet, but like not confirmed either. And this seems to be just blowing a hole in that. Just these cards look like normal cards. The Fabled looks cool, and power level so far has been okay. I know we don't want to hop into individual cards because dear God, we'll go down a rabbit hole. We still haven't talked about the tournament yet.
Yeah, we won't get there. But B-Man, you already said a few things, but any thoughts, any extra thoughts you had on Fabled?
Honestly, this mechanic kind of makes me think of quests, but way better, because you want to play certain cards in certain orders to fulfill an overall game plan. If I'm crazy for thinking that, call me out on it, but I think, like you said, there's more bells and whistles to tune. The individual cards you're drawing are more exciting in your deck on average if you're playing standard. There's the amount of design space that opens up here is large, because they don't need you to collect 3 legendaries as a free-to-play player. They don't need new players to collect these legendaries like this. They just give you a package. They give you basically a voucher ticket to get all these cards. And it's like, wow, I feel like I'm building cooler decks. I feel like my deck has more strong cards by themselves.
That's
For
true.
the Sylvanas card that we saw is like all three of those cards look fine, right? And then you start playing them and drawing them,
Yeah.
like, wow, this gets like more and more exciting. We've seen a couple other spoilers at this point. I think it's just a really, really smart way to do like building for a purpose and building around a certain card. Fill your like instead of offering all of these cards with these mini sets that like are so on rails and everything, just give all the cards in one package and put the rest of the set just good fun cards. They don't need to like fulfill the purpose the same way quests do. You know, I hope that makes sense, but it seems
It
really,
does,
really, really
'cause
fun.
I'm thinking about like the original Cthulhu package. Like they gave you Cthulhu for free, right? Like that's kind of like what I'm thinking of right now, and that was super cool. That I had quit Hearthstone for like a year, and then they gave us Cthulhu, and I was like, oh my gosh, this card is so cool.
Yeah, and it's actually
That's
funny you
kinda what
mentioned
I'm
that too,
thinking of
because
here.
I feel like Cthulhu also had pieces that were on rails as well, because you have these cards that you wouldn't play outside of Cthulhu, right? But these three cards, like at least for the Sylvanas example, which let's assume the design is similar in all cases, all these cards seem fine. All these cards seem fun, right? The Cthulhu cards you don't want to play unless you're playing Cthulhu. The Galakron cards you can't play if you're not playing Galakron, right? These cards you just play them.
Much
They're
to
in your
my
deck
dismay.
and they're fun to draw. Really big fan of this mechanic.
Nice. Trips?
I mean, ditto. I will say this definitely feels like a problem-solving mechanic, less of like a oh, we wanted to do this thing, and more like, man, we want to print like 3 legendaries or like an epic or like 2 epics and a legendary, but like we don't want to take up that many slots because like we're not going to print 3 hunter legendaries in a set that all do the same purpose, and like you can't have one without the other two. And somebody was just like, what if we put it all in one card and just made it like a deck building thing, like Whizbang? And somebody was like,
Make it so.
he's right. He's right. It's, I mean, very, very well designed, I would say. I hope we get more.
Well, yeah. We'll see if they
Yeah.
if this is one of those expansion exclusive.
Yeah. I want it to be
Keywords.
evergreen. I'm going to be real.
This could
If they started doing stuff like that, it would be
This
good.
could be a really cool mini set if they do something fun with the mini set, like related to this at all. Some Fabled like support, it'd be really cool.
Yeah. Do we know if we have a neutral Fabled yet?
There's no way they're gonna do that. I feel like
That would be a mini set like cover card neutral Fabled,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah,
Astalor
yeah.
moment, bro.
That's a good
Astalor
idea.
moment.
I do
All
think
right.
though, like if they ever do want to return to it, we can say this, even if they do want to return to it and they don't call it Fabled, they could like add an extra card and be like, all right, we're spelunking now. It's like, oh man, spelunking's the most broken thing that's ever happened in the game, right? Or like, you know, like now it's 5 cards. Like, all right, we're gonna have a Blardoff this time. It's like Blardoff, man, they're going nuclear on this thing. So like, you know, you can always, there's sneaky ways they can return to it by just like tweaking it, I guess.
Whizbang
Oh,
is
in 20?
Fabled in disguise.
What are
I
your
think
thoughts?
it's pretty cool. I mean, hearing what everybody says, I'm like, yeah, this does seem like a cool mechanic. I definitely think like part of the fun in deck building is getting a package that's a bunch like 25 bazillion crappy cards and then like the 5 ones you're supposed to play. And you know, if you're like a filthy net decker like me, this is basically just doing that for you.
Yeah.
But it does feel like Blizzard is just controlling like how the package works so they can design it to work in a very specific way. And is that good or bad? I don't know, because you know, you're right, like it gives the opportunity to put more legendaries in a class, which makes it more exciting, so you don't have to take up like, you know, all of Warlock or all of Hunter or whatever with like one package that sucks, and then it's just like the class is not good for this patch or for this new set. So like I think that's good. It like gives more breathing room for other stuff to exist, but the mechanic itself does feel like it's limiting your deck building opportunity a little bit, because you have to play the whole package. And so like if the package sucks, you're not going to play the cards, and it's basically cutting 3 cards from viability where like 2 of them could be good, and then you just don't want the 3rd one in your deck. So I think it depends. If they're really fun to play, I think it's going to be just a good mechanic. But I do think there's like something lost in the mechanic.
They wouldn't.
Yeah, I
they
get
wouldn't
that.
print a legendary that they specifically made weak but able to be built around, right? They would never do that.
No.
I don't see why. I don't see the function of that. So I think you're good. Don't worry.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Right on. Well, that's basically all we're really going to cover. Dude, also, there's the mega bundle that you can always grab. There's the regular bundle that you can purchase. I don't think I think it's like what is like $100 for the mega bundle at this point. And I
Good.
don't quote me on how much the regular one is, but yeah, so you can get that. And then of course you can always grab, they've got now the sequence bundle. That's for all of the whales out there. If you've already purchased both the mega bundle and the regular pre-purchase bundle. So mega bundle is the 80 cards with 10 golden packs, 1 random signature, 1 random golden legendary, 4 tavern tickets, and the new hero skin. That's the Time Walker Chromie. The regular one is 60 packs, 2 random across the timeways legendary cards, and Chromie card back. If you have purchased both of those, then you can get the sequence bundle for the true whales.
You've earned
They
it.
don't let you. Yeah, you've earned it. So that includes a diamond legendary, which is Time Lord Nosdormu, and 35 across the Timeway card packs, 15 golden across the Timeway packs, and 2 random signature across the Timeway legendary cards. So you can always get that. I'm not gonna. I got the sequence bundle one time, but it was only because Blizzard gave it to me. I haven't actually purchased it with real monies yet. I possibly could be persuaded. I don't know. Maybe the free one was like, hey, you want a free one? You buy it next time.
They gave you a taste.
They gave me a
First
taste.
one's always free.
The first
like
one's
drug
always
dealers.
free. Yeah, well, exactly. So we'll see what happens this time. Who knows, right? Yeah.
It's time to get into our discussion topic.
Scary and uncomfy. Sorry, that pause called.
I don't know. I am sorry, Shmoopy Dad. I don't normally do that. You guys made me do it at the beginning of the show, so
Yeah, made you. We really twisted your arm.
you did. You really did. All right, so this is where we're gonna talk about Pauper. So I'm gonna largely put this in your guys' hands, right? Because you're gonna be telling us a story about how all of this came together. And where you want to start. So I'm literally gonna hand this over to you if you guys want to tell us the beginning and how it went. Who wants the mic first?
I want to start with Owen.
Start with Owen. All right, Owen. You've got the mic.
Yeah, I wanted to start because this all started with this old Discord called Pauper Hearthstone that me and Trip and Yum and a couple other people were in. Like that I joined probably 3 years ago. And never really played. I don't think I ever played a single game in there before, the past month. I was just in it, and for some reason I never quit. And so like that was just something in my Discord. I'm in like 100 servers, so I don't really even think about it that much. And then since then I've played, before, during, and after I joined this Discord, I played a lot of Penny Dreadful and Magic, which is an online-only format where during each set rotation, or during each new set that's released, they take a week and they look at every single card on Magic Online, and any card that's 2 cents or less, used to be 1 cent, now it's 2 cents, is legal in the format. So it's like an ultra budget format that rotates, like the whole set changes, or the whole format changes every single set release. And what it means is, one, it's super small, and two, anyone can brew lists and just play with weird old cards, powerful cards, random cards, like stuff you would not see in standard or any modern or legacy or anything. And some stuff you would see in those formats. And so it's very fun because there's like low power, high power, just a lot of weird stuff going on. And you just get to constantly brew new decks. And that's one thing that really drew me to it and kept me away from Pauper and Magic, which is also a very popular format. And I enjoy Pauper and Magic, but there's a lot of net decking, and if you go to a tournament or something, people will generally play like the top lists. Mm-hmm. And that's fun, but I think what really kept me just, commenting in the Discord, like staying active for probably close to like 6 years or something, or 5 years with Penny Dreadful, was the fact that you're constantly brewing new decks. And I thought, like, yeah, that's would be fun about Pauper Hearthstone. Like, nobody's playing this format. No one can look up what the best cards are, what the best list is. And so I really want to play something where, like, the deck I build is pretty good. It's not just going to get clobbered by something on the, something somebody pulls off the internet.
Yeah.
And I have an opportunity to innovate. And so, yeah, I messaged Trip, or I messaged the Discord, and Trip replied, and then I was like, whatever, I don't really care. And then I didn't message back. And then Yum, actually, who's one of the other mods in the new Discord, replied, and they, I think, played a game or something. And then I was like, oh, people are actually here. And so then I played, and it was just me, Trip, and Yum, and then like a couple other random people.
By a couple, he means literally like two.
Yeah,
I
two
cannot
other,
stress
actually
how
two other.
small this community was at the very beginning.
Yeah, there's 19 people in this Discord.
Yeah.
And then we were doing it, and we were like, yeah, maybe this could be like a big thing. The format's pretty fun. And nobody has figured it out. Like the twist format is like totally different than the meta we play.
Incredible.
And so I made a new Discord because I was like, whoever runs this Discord is completely AFK, like hasn't logged in months. Mm-hmm. And then Trip just decided to make a website for it out of the blue. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember, was it you, Trip, who posted the Reddit link?
Yeah, so that was, I think, where it really like got to be a big thing. Was we had this new Discord, and I put out a Reddit post being like, hey, here is this Discord. Here's this community that we have built. Here is a website that is a repo. At the time, it was like 30 decks that I had just made over the course of a couple days. Mm-hmm. And was like, I just stole wild decks, removed all the not common cards, added in staples, and was like, here's a deck. It functions.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, join this Discord. I went to bed because I worked the night shift. I woke up, and there were 120 people in this Discord. And I was like, that's a couple.
That happened fast.
More than one.
Yeah.
More than two is what you need.
More than two, significantly less than 20,000, I'd say.
Yeah, I popped in only a couple days after you guys had made the Discord, and I had taken a screenshot at the time, and it had 217 people already at that point. Mm-hmm. And then I think you're over 300.
Yeah, we just
it's like
300 mark.
308 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's been sick. I mean, we've gotten at this point, I think if you type in like looking for game, you are going to get someone else who wants to jam games.
Nice.
Almost every time, unless you're EU, but like
what can you do?
Hey, there is something you can do, guys. Everybody log onto your EU account and just get on the grind. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Don't
it takes like
tempt me.
a week. It takes like a week, and you'll have a full Pauper collection.
It is easy. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm still coming off. I'm a former 3 to 4 account Hearthstone addict.
Whoa.
I don't make me log into you. No.
Hey, on every account right now, just at least claim the free deck. You can just dust everything, dust all your non-commons, and just have a Pauper deck. Just jam it on EU with all those other folks that love playing too.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I probably already have all the cards anyway. They're all there. They're all there.
But so I guess I feel like I should say what Pauper is for anyone who.
Oh yeah.
I guess you talked about it last week, but so Pauper is a format that is only commons and free cards. If you type in Free in the search tag, all those cards are legal. If you type in common, all those cards are legal. And that's it. Those are all the rules.
Importantly, not the legendaries that are free.
Yeah, true. Free meaning,
Rarity.
yeah. But yeah, it's relatively simple to get a handle on.
Oh yeah. Do we want to move straight into the tournament, like discussing what happened there?
Sure.
I'm totally okay. Like I said, you guys, this is your time. Take us where you want us to go.
Maybe we should.
KC had tournament organization stuff. Yeah,
right before the tournament, I feel like we should just talk about sort of the meta a little bit, just so people have like a background on what the decks are, what people are playing, stuff like that.
Yeah. I guess the biggest thing to say is like the things that you think are good are probably bad. Like your first thoughts when you're going in this format where you're like, well, discover cards are obviously broken because you can discover cards that aren't commons, right?
Yeah.
Because there is no like twist setting where it's like, oh, every card you discover. No, you can discover legendaries. So that's the first thing you think of. It's mostly
I saw that happen.
Yep. Turns out when you can choose to put a common card in your deck instead of a random legendary, it's often better. And then aggro is the second thing that you're like, historically, aggro has always been the cheap deck in Hearthstone. That's also mostly wrong. Because it turns out the Hearthstone devs were like, what if we put a bunch of Wraths and armor gain and removal at common too?
Sanitize moment, bro. Oh.
Sanitize is probably one of the best cards in the format, bar none.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have like a sort of somewhat accurate, win rate chart or like meta chart for classes, and like warrior is very strong. What do you call it? I'm trying to scroll up in the Discord to find it. What else?
Where are you
what
seeing
are the other...
this?
It's in the meta discussion on the Discord.
I guess, Casey, do you want to talk about what decks were like, I guess, bigger in this format that like kind of didn't exist in traditional Wild or Standard?
Yeah, I mean, most decks definitely didn't. So when this, I joined this Discord through the Reddit post as well. I just decided to be the one to start the tournament because I have like esports experience, and I was like, sure, I'll run it. And up until that point, I also used to just build Pauper decks just for fun, just to see. And I wouldn't even play them on anything. I would just, this is like basically around the time of the Pauper Twist format. I was just basically building Pauper decks. I like the Pauper format in Magic. So those decks did exist, and you know the Twist Pauper format was a place people started as well. That format is jank and not fun, and it was not great. And there were queue times up to like 5 or 10 minutes once you're on ladder for Twist on that format. Not a great time. But that format got me really cooking on just seeing what there was. Because even when they released that Twist format, we were already in like Showdown or something. Some time like that. And if you guys haven't realized, Showdown's power level is quite high. And the commons in that set are quite impactful. So a lot of people are playing things like, since that Twist format, which only went up to the Galakron sets, you had cards like Peasant come out. You had cards like Gold Panner come out. You had cards...
Keep on panning.
Exactly. Yeah, you had these really, really strong cards come out. And even in this most recent, very questionable power level expansion, you had Blob of Tar come out. Now, these are cards that you probably wouldn't see in Wild, right? But you'll see them, or at least people test them in this Pauper format. And what's exciting is that the meta was, for a long time, our Discord profile picture was Peasant, because Peasant is really cool. It's like a really sick card. It's a really fun card to get to play in a format. And people were really high on it. And now that the meta's already developed since then, I think 0 people were on Peasant by the time of the number 0 tournament. So this tournament was basically just a little test run for both the format, for our Discord, for our bandwidth, basically. And even by that time, everybody's on Miracle Salesman. Everybody's on Gold Panner. So to see the meta develop in that way is really exciting. But you can also, in our Discord, you can scroll down on the deck list thread forum. and you can look at some of the older decks that were created. So you had people brewing Shock Spitter Hunter. You had people brewing No Minion Mage. Trip, I know Trip was big on that one. You had just some regular Taunt Warriors. You had a lot of Elemental decks. Just tribal decks in general are always going to be popular. There was also what is the card that you play in Paladin that gives you a card draw whenever you play a spell on it? Myrmidon, I think it is.
Oh, Myrmidon.
Yeah, so you had people playing a lot of this like
crazy.
really cool like live the dream style stuff, or just like really simple this deck builds itself sort of stuff. And we've seen the meta develop in such a way that the decks that you see at like the top 4 of this last tournament are so interesting and so, especially for the top placing player who brought 3 really unique decks just completely out of nowhere. So watching the meta develop and being a part of that, I try to develop my own big spell mage. Other people are trying to develop their stuff. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't. It's really a magical feeling to feel like you're impacting the meta and developing the community around that.
I think one big thing to note is that, like, at the moment, you can have a deck that's like no minion mage that has a little bit of support but not really, and it's like kind of on the middling of the tier list, and it takes games. This is definitely not a format where we had it solved. I guess if we want to talk about the top player in our tournament, right? They showed up with 2 dragon decks, which was something that really we didn't see anymore at all, and just crushed. Undefeated streak. Just going through winners, didn't drop a single set. So even the decks that you would think are like in the more mid power compared to the best decks can definitely still take sets.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'll also mention that these decks are, the way they play out is very unlike both Wild and Standard. You'd think it would be when you get, maybe when the meta develops more, we'll see more things like that are more reminiscent of Wild strategies, really quick, really grindy. Maybe like the warrior deck, it feels like you're playing against hostage mage. I'm gonna be honest with you, like it's really cool that warrior has access to this stuff just in common. But even still, you have cards that you just never could ever play with in Wild. And honestly, some of these cards didn't even see Standard play very much. I have a little list here if you want to go through that. And you can also show the tier list if you'd like to talk about the tier list. That I've been making tier lists for fun in Smash for so long. I'm like, there's only 11 classes. It'll take 2 seconds to make a tier list for Pauper. And I think that already the shifts we've seen in the placements of the tournament and the tier list is really exciting too. But I'd love to go over some cards that are really unique to this format if you guys are interested.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. Yeah. Let's just take turns and talk about some of these cards. If you guys are good with that, Owen and Trip, but
we got to go over the staples that were.
Oh yeah, we totally should go over the staples.
Okay. So yeah, I got that up on the screen right now with the staples.
Beautiful.
Trip, that's your arena.
That's my baby. So this website was made because I was like, we need something here. Gold Painter's a bad card. You shouldn't be playing it. There's a much better card at 1 mana, so don't know. It's kind of weird that people are playing the 2 mana card.
Dude, the listeners are never gonna. You're gonna set them up for failure, bro.
Here's my honest advice. If you're on Gold Painter at home, just remove it and play Peasant in every single deck. There's no reason not to be playing Peasant. But I guess you're gonna notice a big thing. In these first few, these are the biggest cards played of the tournament. We have Gold Painter at the end of the turn, draw a card. You have Miracle Salesman, which adds a card to your hand that draws a card. Card draw is big in this format. You need it. The combo decks don't win by stalling you out because there's just not enough cards to do that with. The control decks win the game by doing an OTK combo at the end of the game. So even the most controlling, like, sit back deck still has to play a considerable amount of card draw. And I think these two that topped, I mean, Gold Painter in 18 decks means it was in 1/3 of all decks submitted. Miracle Salesman in 12. If we want to scroll down a bit, and one of you guys can take the next couple.
Yeah,
we got
sure.
Blob of Tar and Tide Pool Pupil.
Yeah, I mean, Blob of Tar, I see it decent bit in standard, especially with like budget decks, but like in this format it's just such a good like roadblock card. The removal is like there's a lot of somewhat efficient board wipes, especially if you're like sort of specking into the synergy with it. None of them really deal with Blob of Tar very efficiently. It just sucks to deal with, and you have to spend a lot of resources to kill it. And I mean, I put it in a good amount of decks, like Oaken Summons hits it, and it just feels so good to like Oaken Summons into Blob of Tar, and just like you get like 2-3 turns where they just can't even touch you at all. So yeah, it's just like one of the better wall cards to be playing. And then Tide Pool Pupil, maybe K Colin, you could talk about that one because I haven't really been putting it in a lot of my decks.
Yeah, that's actually a card I've been cooking on a lot recently. It honestly just slots into so many strategies. Like, why are we playing cards that generate things when we can play cards that just rewind you? Right? Also, one more thing about Blob of Tar that's interesting is that it's one of the only staples here that is truly like a build-around card. I don't think you're slotting it into every single deck anymore, but since it is a Death Rattle, since it is a Taunt, since it is 4 mana for Oaken Summons, it's one of the only cards that actually has multiple decks wanting to play around with its strategies. Priest likes to reanimate it with the tradable Resurrect Your Death Rattle spell. That's a real strategy along with Altasaur. Other decks just have Taunt synergy. Other decks have ways to use the token, stuff like that. So that card is more than just the way it looks. Even in Standard, I don't think they're using it to its full advantage because of the lack of resurrection in every single class. The way you have the flexibility you do in this format. I think Oaken Summons is in Standard too, so I think you can do that. But don't quote me on that. I don't play a lot of Standard. But to talk about Tide Pool People, the old staple list had a lot of 2-drops that generated cards. We love those cards. We love Hipster. We love what is the other one that gives Pandaren Importer, I think it is.
Yeah.
We love that. It's super fun. It's super sweet to see these cards. But people says generate a card that you like, that you really want to see. So you're starting to see Rogue play this card. You're starting to see one of the people in the Discord who's constantly brewing is playing a kind of a draw card Rogue deck where you want to Shadow Step this and then play more copies of the thing that shuffles turtles in your deck. I'm playing this in my mage deck and just getting more control pieces or more volleys, So this card is really crucial to a lot of game plans, and you can also just dump like stuff you discover off of other cards into it. I had a game 2 or 3 days ago where I cast 5 objections in a row in this format. I had a game.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun for me.
For you, yeah.
Yeah, it was super sweet. My opponent said, I thought they were going to be mad. They're like, honestly, once in a lifetime achievement. I'm like, that's respectable. That's exactly what I
probably got a few of these.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally exactly that. Right. But yeah, the card is really sweet. I think that card in specific, with the fact that you can generate non-commons, is super cool. One of the most fun cards to play with. And shout out Miracle Salesman for giving you a 0-cost spell to do damage, to trade, to trigger combos with. Just a really, really sick card. And in that, honestly, Gold Panner is the only card that's just like you just play it because it draws cards, and that is what it is. But you want to see that. It has pseudo taunt. Card draw like Trip Set is really important. And having more than 1 health, unlike another similar card, will actually do a lot in this format to let it survive.
Guaranteed draw.
Yeah, guaranteed draw. Needle Rock Totem, shout out to that card as well. But yeah, if you guys want to talk about some of the more interesting cards we've seen from the tournaments and from people brewing, I'd love to talk about that list too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to go back to Miracle Salesman very quickly, just to say, like, in a very low power format, like this card is very strong from my experience playing it. Just I want to emphasize, like, Peasant fits the theme of our format completely, and we changed the banner on our Discord to Miracle Salesman because this card is the truth. It's like 1 mana 2/2 with upside, which like nothing has even access to anything close to what that card can do. And the upside is you guaranteed draw a card. That card is very, very good in this format. And you see decks that like not aggro, like just anything pretty much wants to play that card. You know, OTK, like damage decks want to play that card. Like, there's just so many different ways you can take advantage of it. And yeah, that card is very good in this format.
Yeah, if I was playing a deck, I would love to have a 1-mana 2/2 that adds a 0-mana deal 7 to my opponent to my hand. That seems really, really strong.
No, I love spell damage decks. I'm really glad that they're really good in this
Trip
format.
is the best
My favorite.
commentator for spell damage and warrior. He loves it, and he's going to do it solo every time from now on.
No, you made me do it solo. That's a real thing that happened.
Yes, correct. That's why you're going to do it solo from now on.
Nope. That was the one moment. I think it was spell damage shaman versus spell damage shaman. I was just like, I'm not commentating. Have fun. I'm getting water. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. I'll just make people upset. Since we're on the tournament, I was wondering if we could just go over what the good decks are, because I'm sure that's something people at home are kind of like.
Yeah.
You know, we've alluded to maybe 2 of the better decks in the room. But if we want to go over, like, what are the best decks? So this is a recap, just a little chart of, like, what decks did the most. For people at home, Imbue Priest took up 6 of our deck slots. Handbuff Paladin took up 6 of our deck slots. OTK Control Warrior, there is an OTK in Warrior, took up 5, with other controlled decks also taking 3. Control Lock got 2. Pirate Rogue 3. The worst deck in the field, Spell Damage Shaman, unfortunately took 2, and then
Rip.
Parrot Mage took 2, with 25 like rogue fringe decks, taking up almost half of the pie chart.
That's cool to see.
Do either of you have any deck that you specifically want to go over from like the top 4 or 5? Owen?
I do. So one of my favorite decks that was kind of my baby before people, like anyone was joining the Discord, like before we even started advertising it, is the Hand Zerg Warlock deck that placed at number 2, piloted by Trox. So this deck uses just the generic common Zerg cards like Hive Queen, Nidus Worm, Ultralisk Cavern, and there's one more that's the taunt minion for 2, but it's been cut in more recent versions. But it is hard to like overstate how good Hive Queen is as a card. Hive Queen is a complete engine in one card, and it's a 2/5, so it's very hard to kill immediately. And just drawing a card, like a good card every single turn, is so incredibly strong that basically this archetype has kind of built up itself up around it. So that was the initial deck I built, was like Hive Queen, Nidus Worm, like all the Zerg cards that I could fit in. And then just a bunch of random stuff to see what could support that package, because it is very good. And so this version is more like control-y. And the game was very fun to watch, which you can find on YouTube. It's like one of the only things that comes up when you search Pauper Hearthstone. But some other interesting cards. Trog Gem Tosser is both an incredible removal spell and also does a ton of damage to face. Like if you're just trying to close a game out, that card is really good. Ultralisk Cavern, just like a bunch of 1 mana or 1 damage board wipes, and then you make an 8/8, is way stronger. Just like a generic 8/8. Like there's not a lot of stuff that can just make a big guy, and so if you can do it at all, it's kind of good. And then you get into like Scrapbooking Student, which clones a location. So you clone your Ultralisk Cavern, and then you're pinging for 2 every other turn. And you get into this like very weird, and then you're making 2 8/8s. And then there's some handlock stuff like Abyssal Summoner, Table Flip. But yeah, the Zerg package is definitely something I want to highlight as like a very strong strategy. And very fun to play. Very annoying for your opponent, but very, very fun to play.
I was just going to say, I, as a Hydralisk, support the Zerg package.
Heck yeah. I was going to ask you guys, I don't know if you've had this spoiled for you yet, Hydralisk and Shmoopy Daddy, but have you guys, off the top of your head, do you know how many dirty rat effects there are in this format? If you already know, that's totally fine, but...
I think I know.
Go for it.
Okay.
I think it's just one, right? Call to the stand.
So there's
I'll give you a
first
hint,
of
you're looking at
all,
one.
it depends on your definition, because there are cards that affect cards in your opponent's hand. There's the card in Warlock that like turns your stuff into a demon, right? There's some stuff like that, but if we're just talking about dirty rat effects, Call to the Stand is the one card that says do that. But there's one other that you have access to relatively consistently. It's something called related to Hive Queen.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So this is a real strategy that these types of controlling decks are doing against either OTKs, spell damage, stuff like that. You have to rely on stuff like Viper, generated randomly by Hive Queen, a hard to remove minion, something that you can cast on both of them on 4 with the Nidus Worm, right? And this happens. You can make the warrior lose the game. You can make the spell damage player lose the game.
So I can believe that because in Wild for a little bit, when the StarCraft mini set first came out, I was actually on like Triple Blood DK in Wild, and did get a list posted that was prominently featuring Zerg cards, and a big part of that was I would tutor 8 Hands from Beyond early, and I would delete my opponent's decks until we were down to 8 cards, and then eventually I would get carry up. And I was also running Theatar and Mutanus, and essentially I was just like, okay, we're both in the late game now, and now I'm going to start picking stuff out of your hand and removing it, and I am going to grind you out. And so, like, that's the kind of list that it was. And so I can absolutely see this happening because you can get Viper fairly consistently within a couple turns. So if that's what you're looking for and you think they have the nuts, it's pretty easy to go and get it. Now, kill it once you've pulled it. Viper doesn't attack it, right? So like that's a little touch and go, but you know you can at least plan for it. So yeah, I could absolutely see that.
Yep. And
Well,
Trox is right. We do have to discuss the game. There was one game at the tournament featuring a card, Shadowflame Stalker. I don't know if you guys have seen this card yet, but it is a 4-mana 4/3, has a pretty simple effect. It just gets, I believe, a Death Rattle minion.
No, I think it's
It's a
any.
demon.
Is it a demon?
I think it's any minion, but it gives you a copy. It might be a demon.
Okay. Gives you a demon with a dark gift and makes a copy of it. What they were able to do in this tournament was create 2 copies of a card that said shuffle 3 prime legendaries into your deck.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Got 2 copies of them. Then played an additional Shadowflame Stalker, which discovered resummon each demon you've played this game that didn't start in your deck. Meaning they got 2 additional prime legendaries that shuffled prime legendaries into their deck.
Yeah, gross.
Which then, the turn after, got to do it again. I think we were up to like 35, 40 cards in deck. Against, if you had to guess, you'd think aggro probably like just rolls you over at this point. No, it was against Control Warrior. So there was just nothing that could be done. And I think that really just exemplifies that, like, this isn't a boring format where, like, you don't get to do cool things. You get to have crazy, like, swing turns and absurd discoveries, the same as, like, classic Hearthstone. Just maybe your average card you're putting into the deck is going to be a little bit lower powered. I guess we'll talk about maybe the middle deck there. So, Hand Buff Paladin.
Hand buff Pally.
The
It's
elephant in the room. Because it's so large, the minions it makes are elephant-sized.
Mm-hmm. It is genuinely just the deck. Whenever we played it in tournament, it, as you could see by the thing up there, it was the second tied most played deck in the room, and it saw play all of 6 games during the tournament. Because in that tournament, where every other deck that was up there was getting like 20, 25 games in, Paladin was banned all but 6 games. The combination of Painter's Virtue, of Alliance Bannerman, of Grime Street Outfitter is like something that you two, as, big Wild players, have already seen. you've played
Oh, yeah.
against a deck that probably looks near identical to this one on ladder.
This one had its day, that's for sure.
Yeah. And this is like just there. People have tried. You'll notice pretty much any priest deck at the tournament was on 2 copies of Shard of the Naru. A lot of people are packing silences and ways to try and stop this deck, but I think it shows the difference in all the top decks in the format, that people were kind of willing to play against Imbue Priest. People were willing to play against Control Warlock. People were willing to play against the Control OTK Warrior. People didn't want to play against Paladin. It does too many things. If at home you've never played against a hand buff Paladin deck, first, good job. Congrats. I wish I were you. This deck is good at gaining life, putting up gigantic taunt minions to stop aggro, putting down gigantic rush minions with lifesteal to stop aggro, and then finishing you with 30 charge damage from hand, which is going to beat any control deck in our format at least. It's going to put up not only that, it's going to go, oh, you're a warrior deck? I have put pressure on you, but you've somehow been able to stop my boards every time. Here's 30 face damage so you don't get to sanitize me, and you still have to clear my board. Go.
Yeah. It's the boogeyman. This is the deck that is like meta warping to the point where, yeah, generally I have played against it one time. Trip played it against me, and I played Control Druid, and I got to we were just about to start decking out, and then I had a taunt or maybe 2 taunts in play, and he puts enough stats on board to kill me from full health plus armor with 2 taunts in play.
2 taunts.
It might have been 1 taunt, but still, I just died instantly. And I was like, I wasn't even really playing the game. I was just sort of waiting and letting you, stack charge minions in your hand. The deck feels unbeatable when you're playing against it. But there's a couple adaptations. You said silence. So silence, theoretically, you can beat it if you silence their minions, because they're playing 8/8s every single turn. So that's just impossible to beat for a lot of decks. But if, you silence them, maybe you can potentially beat it, and you can try and kill them before they get the big charge minions to OTK you. Theoretically, Imbue Priest has probably a 40-60 or 30-70 matchup or something like that. Unfavorable, but it can still beat it. Also, some people have been playing Nerubar Weblord, which says minions with Battlecry cost 2 more. Apparently, it hoses the deck. It's terrible against everything else, probably, or at least a lot of decks. And you can only slot it into certain decks without causing yourself a lot of pain. But, if I was going to a tournament, I'd bring at least one deck that had it in it that could slot it in comfortably, just so I could try and hose it, in the worst case scenario. Other than that, you're just going to die against it. That deck is just absolutely cracked.
So there was a famous Day 9 sketch a long time ago.
One really big man?
It was not Hearthstone related. This is you might have seen it. This is
StarCraft one?
StarCraft related. Where he said people wonder how do I beat this really complicated strategy, and somebody's they're building these units in a really weird way that I'm not really ready for, and the answer is to just kill them. If I just but they're setting up this way, just kill them, hit them in the face. And I feel as the meta's developing, we're kind of learning that sure, you can do these crazy things, but what if I put a bunch of pirates on the field that you can't out, and then I hit you for 30 points of damage? And you're here's a lifesteal guy that heals 7. And it's word, here's 7 more damage.
Yeah.
I think the idea that hand buff Paladin is the best deck in the format is for sure correct. I don't think it's unbeatable. I think plenty of decks have tools to build it, especially if you're running cards like Weapon Destruction. Because, you guys have seen from Wild, Painter's Virtue is an insane card. We play 2 copies of the card that tutors a weapon to find more Painter's Virtues. But it's harder for a new format where people are building decks and it almost feels like you have too many cards in your deck to slot in cards like, oh, well, I probably got to play weapon removal. I probably have to play silences. Like, nobody wants to do that in their cool combo format just yet.
No.
Yeah, if you are someone who finds Pauper an interesting idea or interesting thing to come check out, we are personally inviting you right now. Come on our Discord and find the counter to Paladin right now. You do that,
I believe in it.
you are the holy grail we are seeking in this moment. We had, I think, almost every single player at the tournament ban Paladin every single round, to the point where Trip was like, do you know which classes were banned this round that we're streaming? I said Paladin. He's like, yes. And I said, I know. You didn't have to ask. Like, it's just Paladin every time.
I didn't even look. I just know.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, yeah.
So Paladin is definitely, and at the same time, it's really sad because Paladin has some cool stuff. Paladin has Time Out. Paladin has not Cold Feet, but the spell one, Rebuke. So Paladin has these cool tools that are just like out. Like someone was trying to Someone was trying to brew Mech Paladin, and it's just you just play hand buff. You play hand buff Mech Paladin. So at the same time as a hand buff Paladin being so strong and so polarizing, it's also pushing out these other Paladin strategies and other like general like maybe I want to ban like not Paladin and see like more classes. I want to see a Paladin deck at this last tournament, for example. It's really unfortunate to see that kind of happen. So hey, if you're listening and you want to come counter Paladin, be my guest, be our guest right now. Do it.
And if you just want to show up and have fun, play games, also show up to the Discord. Like, this has been a super fun format. We are still like ironing out the kinks, getting our tournaments together. Like, please show up.
Yeah, you'll figure out if you can be the true Prince of Pauper.
Yeah. I can put the link to the Discord in the YouTube description of this video. So if you are watching this on YouTube, look down and there's your invite to the Pauper Discord.
And KC, was there any deck in particular that made it big at the tournament that is like big in the meta you wanted to go over?
We have not. Yeah, we have not talked about any of the. We mentioned the first placing players tournaments, but I really want to highlight some of the things that they really like. Really surprised me with personally. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to commentate Grands, and Trip did a fantastic job doing that. If you guys want to watch the VOD of this tournament, every game that we streamed is uploaded on my YouTube. I made a little playlist called Prince of the Pauper. I'll upload everything that I put to that playlist. So definitely come check it out. We got some fun times. We in the beginning of the VOD, we did try to go over some decks while we had time, but towards that top 8, you just got to kind of get game after game there. But there's some really interesting things in F300 Zen's or Fox's lineup of decks. One deck is pretty simple: Spell Damage Mage. It's Mage, and you play spells, and they deal damage. It's a brand new strategy. Never heard of it before. Meanwhile, that deck does have some spicy cards. You play Arcane Worm, gives you the mana
It's
thirst
such a low
bolt.
curve.
Yeah,
too.
it's crazy low curve. This format is getting lower and lower on the curves as well. I'm looking at my rogue deck just like cut down even to the point where you're not even playing anything over 2. Like a lot of these decks are playing really, really, really small cards. It's even less
There's
than.
only
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Spell Damage Mage has Cold Case at the top. It's the only 4-mana card.
Yeah, and that card is like
list.
you have to run it just for to survive. But the list doesn't really want to play that. But it's something that does let you survive.
And like I just want to mention, like some control decks curve out at like 4. Like Control Rogue, Excavate Rogue. The one I really enjoy has one card it plays at 4, and everything else is lower cost.
Exactly. Yeah, and you could play a version of Excavate Rogue or Rogue specifically. You could play just like 2 or less. I've tried that. It's fine, and you don't. The 4-drop we're talking about is Dubious Purchase. It's just a very high value card in common, and you are really happy to play it, but you don't even need to play it. Rogue, you can just put in any number of other cards that just draw more cards. You're fine. But to speak a little bit more to the other decks that Fox brought and took the first tournament with, congratulations to them. Like we mentioned earlier, they were on 2 dragon decks, which does sound very similar to the twist format that happened a while ago. I remember seeing Reddit posts about how Pauper Dragon Twist Warrior was disgustingly strong because of the Rostakon's Rumble 2-drop spell that adds 2 random dragons to your hand. Anyway, what's funny about some of these decks is that they're playing cards that you'd never think would go well together, at least in my opinion. You have, for example, the Druid Dragon deck, which I had tried out Dragon Druid myself, maybe like the week before the tournament, and I was pretty happy with it, but it wasn't like the meta breaker that I thought maybe it could be. But they found some spicy tech with corrupting the Dreaming Drake with Blood Treant, so that's a first very nice little spicy thing to do. Meanwhile, they're on 2 Eterniate Maws. Silence is really good at this format. And also just having the option to give your dragon immune to attack in for free is really great. But the biggest thing that really surprised me was Wild Growth. Now, Wild Growth is super strong in Druid, super staple in Druid, but this is an aggro deck. Like, if you look at it, you're trying to curve out every turn. You're not trying to miss a turn. The deck is playing other 2-drops. It's playing Gold Panner. But in general, I saw Wild Growth, and I said, why are we skipping turn 2 if we're on an aggressive plan? Fox cooked. Fox wanted to go straight to turn 4. He wants to drop that Future Emissary. Because Future Emissary is hand buff, it's mana cheat, it's a dragon, and it also similarly corrupts the Dreaming Drake. So that was a deck that I saw when I saw the list. It just all clicked immediately after I saw it being played. But let me say, the first time I saw it, it didn't click, and then when I saw it being played and tried it myself after the tournament, this deck is cooking. So shout out to Fox for trying that out. I even asked him. I said, "How did you test these decks? I'd never seen these decks in the looking for games section of our Discord. I've never seen anybody talk about these decks." And he's like, "Yeah, I just like climbed ladder, like wild ladder with these decks and see which ones felt good." I'm like, "Wow." He's like, "I just ignored like the egg druids and the Borlocks and stuff, and just if I played against like a fair deck, I just see how much damage I did and stuff like that." And he really showed that he knew how to do that really, really well. And it's a similar story with the Warrior deck. The Warrior deck's also basically a dragon deck, but at the same time, you're playing Sanitize, you're playing Needle Rock Totem, which is a 0 attack minion, you're playing Safety Goggles, which is a spell that gains you health. It is crazy, the type of stuff that Fox came up with, and clutch this tournament up with a, like Trip mentioned earlier, a flawless record.
Wow. Really kept his cards close to his chest on this one, hey? Playing on ladder instead of test playing with everybody else. Came out
That's
on
part
top.
of it.
That's cool.
That's part of it.
You know, if we solve the format, we could probably try and pivot into maybe some other deck restrictions to try and make it like, you know, try and build a new Brewer's Paradise maybe. But yeah, that was the idea. Like, one example for me is Librams. Like, if you look at the only common Librams, it's like the one with Spellcraft or whatever that mechanic is that draws a Libram. That's like one of the minions, and then one that like reduces the cost by 1. And then the Librams you have is like the weapon, the one that makes all
Humility?
Humility, and then the one that draws 2 minions, and like that's it. And so it's like this very contained package that could be good, you know, in a Paladin deck, but you don't have like the Libram that you're used to, which is, you know, what you'd expect when you think of a Librams deck. And so it like, same with the Zerg, like it cuts the Zerg package so tight. You're only playing the bottom of the barrel cards, and you don't have all the support for, an archetype that like actually, it makes it good in the way you're used to. And so, you know, you're playing Ultralisk Cavern by itself because the card is just good in the format, but you don't have the thing that removes the durability from it. And so you're like, you have to look at every single card outside of the packages that you're used to and be like, is this good? How does this play against all these other cards that I'm not used to? And like for me, I tried to do all these packages like Librams and stuff, and then I was like, I'd rather just play a minion with stats that doesn't do anything at all, because these packages aren't good enough, some of them. And so it really challenges all your conceptions of how the game plays, and even like the actual games, once you're done with deck building, play so differently that like in standard and in wild, I could kind of just play on autopilot, and I'm like, oh, this board wipe will just clear their board, and that's it. And so I don't really think about necessarily all my plays to like the maximum extent of what they do. But in this format, I'm like, my deck literally can't make anything bigger than a 7/7. And so they just played an 8/8. Like, how do I deal with that? My board wipes don't deal with it. I don't have any good like removal spells that just kill a minion. And so you have to like really think about what everything does, because the limitations are so harsh on stuff that you really have to like think outside the box when it's only commons. Where rares, you get into things that do the thing you want it to do and not just something that you have to work around.
And I think you got into something that is really key to how this format works, in that, like you were saying, Librams are much, much, much worse than they were before, but they're playable. Like, they oftentimes, most of the, like, there's some very small concessions for, like, you're not making Cthulhu work in this format.
Yeah.
Hate to tell you.
Galakron.
We're not making Galakron work in this format, unfortunately. But, like, if you are a player who's out there who's like, I want to play Librams, you can put them in a deck. There's the card that reduces your Librams. There's a card that draws Librams. The weapon with lifesteal is, like, fine. Like, you can play Librams. It's just going to be very different than what you're expecting. Discard Warlock. You're not getting this super huge aggressive push with Disco Lock, but you get some really efficient draw. You get some really efficient minions. You get like 2 cards that say, when you discard this card, summon it, or when you discard this card, draw 2 cards. Like, you still get all the packages you're used to. They are just the common versions of them.
Yeah.
What I think is really sick about this format.
One thing that you sort of just reminded me of, because you were talking about you can't really get these payoffs from these cards like Galakron or Cthulhu or whatever, but how powerful it is of things you can do. We used to have a segment on this show. It was the weekly challenge, and we'd ask people to do something and share a screenshot of it. And then if you won, we would give you a couple packs, right? It was just like a thing we used to do. And one of them was you needed to get lethal using Memoron's head, but you had to not run it in your deck. So you had to discover Memoron's head, and you had to get lethal, right? So the person that did it, the person that ended up getting lethal with it, did it before we finished recording the episode. They did it during the episode and actually posted the screenshot and replay before we were even done recording, which just goes to show the insane things that you can do and discover when you're not running the legendary that you can normally run, right? You can actually make some crazy stuff happen. And yes, that one blew my mind that actually happened. Because it gives you the Mega Wind Fury minions. If you're not familiar with the card, you need to have like a certain amount of mech survive your turn, and then it's super fun combo. It's got one of the best animations in the game, in my opinion. It goes like choo 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 choo, and like plays a song, and it feels like you're watching an anime.
The Tavern Brawl that uses Memoron's head is always fun to try to like figure out the little puzzle for, and I don't even necessarily have fun trying to make my mech survive in the Tavern Brawl, so I can't imagine trying to discover this in the first place. It's crazy.
What was that old quote? Like, restriction is the heir to creativity. Restriction breeds creativity. Something like that. That is such a huge part of this format. Like, to its bones. The fact that you have to be creative to be deck building in this format.
Yeah, I can relate to that very hard. Every cube that I've been designing in Magic, for example, is all just like, how can I restrict myself so much where I don't have to work as hard to make things really exciting. And that's what's drawn me to this format. I don't have to dust as many cards. I don't have to play all these complicated like setup cards, all these legendaries. How do I just play with the commons, man? The cards that are in every pack, you get all of them in your collection. And exactly what Trip is trying to say here is the reason you want to check this format out. If you're on the fence about it, it's the fact that you can build these really strong payoffs and make it feel that much better because it's all commons is really exciting.
You know, it's so true. So I don't know if people still fall for this. This was a big thing a long time ago, and it could still be. But like when there would be a big Hearthstone tournament, and let's say Pavel just won the tournament, and it shows his lineup, and then it gets posted on Hearthstone, and everyone's like, "Wow, it's a deck that costs 17,000 dust or something like that, and it's like a tournament winner lineup, right?" And then people go and they craft the tournament lineup, right? And so they like this, you could spend like 50,000 dust on it, and it's insane. But like that was catered to a certain meta, right? Like they were building that deck towards a certain meta. They were countering certain things and everything. It's not even actually probably the best deck to even play on ladder at that point in time because it was a pocket tournament meta. But this is like 100% the reverse of that. Like you can't go wrong because if you've played this game at all for like a year or two, you probably have all these cards anyways, right? Like and if you don't, say you cracked a golden epic that does nothing, right? You could toss that.
That's like +3 decks right there. You finished 3 decks,
right? Like
that's value.
Yep.
That's value, right?
So we rewind that epic and we build Pauper decks.
Exactly. I mean, so
Perfect.
for these decks that we had up here, I'm like, to explain how cheap the format is, right? All the deck that are on the website, I had to make these decks in order to get just the deck codes. So I have built every single deck that is available on the website. I did not have the cards for Spell Damage Mage because I'm a good person with like morals and integrity. So
I thought you said your favorite class was mage.
absolutely not. In no way, shape, or form. Priest is the best. I love stalling people out. It's the greatest in the world. Mage is just the best at stalling people out right now, unfortunately for me. So, in order to make this deck, to put it on here, I had to craft 2 Imprisoned Phoenix. Crafted it, put the deck on here, disenchanted the 2 Imprisoned Phoenix. Because I was just like, oh, I just don't want him here. I don't want him sullying my collection.
You felt dirty just having them, hey?
Yeah. I had to put the deck list up here, unfortunately, because it won the tournament. And then
I get it.
Delete.
I get it. As a person who actually has the most wins with mage out of any class, I'm also not a mage fan.
No.
Even though it's my highest win
shaman hater.
class.
If it makes you feel any better.
Mage is so sad of a design in Wild right now because it's very fun to play and very rewarding to win with. I feel like even if you can play Imbue and enjoy that, you can play Hostage Mage and enjoy that, but at the same time, it's like I am truly surprised some of the strategies and decks that Mage has that are viable in Wild are like things that Team 5 have not like necessarily minded, I guess, because the amount of if Team 5 is a group of people that takes criticisms and feedback to the level of which they have made the last expansion, you'd think that with all of like the both r/Hearthstone and like r/Wild Hearthstone posts about Imbue and Hostage Mage that maybe not r/Hearthstone, but it is pretty polarizing feedback specifically for Hostage Mage that I've seen, and I love Mage, I really do, but that deck is tough to play against when you don't know if you're going to win or not, even while playing correctly. It's a tough time in the ladder.
Agreed. I mean, it's taken the most heat out of, in my opinion, in my memories, how I view things. Mage it's been awful forever because of Ice Block, right? And because of the quest, and because of Aha and fireballs going to your face, like with Sorcerer's Apprentice and Mana Worms getting nerfed in the past, and it's just over time it's just been It's been aggressive. It's been annoying, and they call it hostage mage for a reason.
You're sitting there.
It's an awful experience, especially like when you think you can win, right? And you're like, I think I got this. But I gotta play it through. I gotta play it through. They'll screw up eventually. You asked me if we had any questions. I have another question, actually. So this was tournament 0. All right, this was you just tested this out. Get some of the kinks out, kind of figure out what the meta's going to be like, get to run your stream for the first time on it, all that stuff. So
learn the double spectate feature exists, which is a big learning curve. Crazy learning curve.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious, by the way. Thank you, Shmoopy Daddy, for mentioning it like 17 times during the stream.
I was enjoying myself, by the way. I had a lot of beer. That was very fun. That was very fun. I felt it the next day.
You were the goat of the chat for sure.
He texted me the next morning and he's like, I think I'm still drunk from the tournament last night.
No comment.
Yeah. No, but tournament number 1 obviously is next. When is tournament number 1? When's that going to happen? And I don't know if you got the date set yet but let us know what the next steps are. What can people look forward to?
Yeah. So we're kind of planning on hosting them around the month mark. So obviously we just had our one for October, and we're kind of trying to figure out right now. And I guess if you guys at home want to go to general, discuss it amongst yourselves in the Discord. We're trying to figure out if we want to do it before or after the new set's release. Because obviously the new set release is going to change a lot.
Yeah, I'll also mention that with the potential of making it monthly, we do open up, or we want to open up the space for EU players to play as well. And last tournament went a lot later than I thought. I have a wife and 3 cats. I gotta get out of there at some point. So I definitely am very interested in making it both earlier for my sake, and also the EU players said, hey, I don't want to stay up till 2 a.m. or 7 a.m. or whatever to play in this tournament. I think if they have like an NA account or something like that, I'm not exactly sure how to set that up, but I really do want to support as many players as we can get, do as much coverage as we can do. So if you guys also are in the EU or any other region that wants to try to participate in this monthly tournament, we can definitely talk about getting some sort of earlier time frame for that, and keeping it on Sundays seems like it was a pretty good place to be doing that, especially if we can end at a good time. But definitely jump in the Discord and talk about it like Trip said. We'd love to get your feedback on that. But monthly seems like a good time for people to build up to a tournament meta, and then build down from it, build afterwards. We already have people trying new decks like Weapon Rogue right now. We have people trying new decks like I saw, not in BU, not Infuse. It's a card with Infuse. It's Enrage Warrior is one of the I or E words. But yeah, you're seeing a lot of stuff pop up to answer some things like from the last tournament. So a month seems like a good amount of time between tournaments, especially if we keep them free and we keep them just like fun ways to practice your decks, build the meta. But yeah, jump in there and see what you want to do. Obviously, a month after the last tournament would be November 2nd. But if we do want to wait for the set's release, like Trip was saying, it could be exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I did want to go over one more thing from the tournament, because it was just a really funny situation that happened. We went through the tournament like Battle-Fi everything. And they had each player submit their deck list. And there was a big thing that happened where everyone was basically like, hey, we can't see the deck list of our opponents. And there was a big kerfuffle trying to make sure that like people weren't cheating, people weren't switching decks, people were actually playing the decks they submitted. And behind the scenes, I had taken screenshots of everybody's decks and labeled them, so that I could write an article after the tournament started. So I just had a Google Doc with everybody's information on it sitting beside. And then people were like, this is bad, everything's going wrong, none of us can see each other's decks, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Google Doc. published, like 5 minutes later, and they're like, why do you just have that? But that was a huge stroke of luck that happened during the tournament. There's no way we could have planned for that, but it just happened to be that we had all the deck lists ready.
Wow.
Well, before we start, I know we've been yapping for a hot minute, but before we move on to the last section, I do want to ask Hydralisk and Schmoopy one last question, which is a question that has been discussed countless times in the Pauper Discord, and is a question that is very interesting to think about, but it's just a yes or no question. If you had the power right now to make it so that when you play the Pauper format in Hearthstone, you cannot discover anything besides commons, would you do it? I give you 10 seconds.
Yes.
Because obviously, as you know right now, all discovers are available. We're playing in the wild, casual, friendlies, play a friend format. The Twist format had this. The Twist format was strictly commons even on Discover. What would you guys say? I guess we'll start with Hydralisk. What would you say to that question of yes or no, I would change it or not, and why?
I would make it so that you could discover any rarity. Just because it just opens it up for so much more interesting and crazy games that you didn't really expect. You can build your deck around discovers if you want, but that's not a good deck, right? But if you you need a game plan. But if you have a couple discover options, why not leave that there, right? Because you can get some crazy broken things. But if we're playing wild, the discover options are limitless. Like, it is insane, and they're garbage 90% of the time. Like, some of them are just, they're not going to work with your deck. They're just going to be awful. And yeah, you're going to high roll, and guess what? That's YouTube content, baby. Like, that is what you want, right? So why not have that there? I think it makes it more exciting. And yeah, you know what? It's a card game. They've got RNG. The first card game ever invented had RNG, and that's called shuffling the deck and dealing, right? So let's keep it in there, baby.
Good rant, Hydra. I liked that. I felt it. I had the fire in my belly towards the end.
I was on my soapbox.
I'm actually going to do... I'm going to actually do the opposite of you, despite all of that inspiration. No, the way I'm looking at it is I would not open it up. I would keep it all commons. And the reason why I would, in part, is for a couple of reasons that actually Hydra stated. I think those like crazy outcomes feels bad on the other side when you're the opponent and you're getting beat by something that is not of a rarity of anything that you could put in your deck. But also from the deck builder side, there might be more consistent discovers that you would consider running. If, for example, you guys kept saying, hey, listen, turns out commons you put in your deck are better than random anything on purpose, or better than random anything that you discover. Well, all of a sudden the discover options maybe start to get a little bit narrower and start to get a little bit more planned, and now you're more likely to get commons that you would actually want to put in your deck, and you're discovering them. So I think it's like a little bit feels better on... It can feel better for both players. I mean, obviously, you'd rather be the scammer than the scammed. But it's just, I think it leads to a more even experience.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Unrelated Advice with special guest of the week.
Schmoopy Daddy, you got some unrelated advice for these guys?
Pauper Bros, are you ready for your unrelated advice? It came to my attention that you guys use the word staple with a regular frequency. You mentioned the word staple in your Discord in a short period of time, no less than at least 33 times before I started the show tonight. In a similar Discord that I'm in, involving wild players, it's been around since 2019, staple has been used and mentioned only 128 times. So at this current pace, you will pass that Discord inside of 6 months using the word staple. So you guys seem to like staples a lot. So here's the here's the rule. It can't be the same thing as the person beforehand. What's your favorite thing to staple? Go.
I'm gonna go
Beat Man.
last because I have the correct answer.
I was gonna say Beatman's on top, so top down.
I like stapling bread on trees.
Okay, so that
Did I steal
that
your
can't be
trip?
used
I think
now.
I stole trips.
They can't be used now.
Okay, Trips, go.
Owen.
It's you.
Oh,
Nah, I like
or
stapling
real- oh,
paper,
trips?
brother.
Okay.
I work in a government office. What do you think?
paperwork.
I got, yeah. 3 hours of it every day.
Well, there's something I can think of. Eminem had a famous line about stapling something to another thing that is definitely not the right choice. I would probably staple 2 Magic cards together just to really piss off my opponent.
Wiser words have never been spoken, and you heard that on.
Born to be wild.
Amazing.
It's up there with like eating somebody's cards so that they like disqualify if you can get away with it. That's insane.